I find myself often asking, how do I tell if I'm an adult? I've met older people that are immature and act like they're still in high school, so what does it take to be an adult? The best I could come up with is not dying before you turn 18. So I have a hard time identifying as an adult, especially since I still feel like a kid. That being said, I want to talk with other, quote, adults and learn from them. After all, the quickest and typically the most painless way to learn is through others. Somehow, we're adults. So, you just mentioned the new iPhone, and Apple comes out with a new iPhone every month. I was thinking about this the other day. You remember, like, you graduated the same year as I did, right? 2015?
2015, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember in 2015, like, what iPhones were like then?
I remember it was old school.
Yeah, compared
to now.
Like, I just remember, I think it was my sophomore year. No, either my sophomore or my junior year, so either, would it be 2012, 2011?
Yeah.
And they had the iPhone 3, and I remember, like, that was the one with, like, the curved back, and, like, if you had that, you were, like,
you were the coolest
man.
person.
Yeah. And then they came out with the iPhone 4, which had, like, the, like, similar, like, design to what the current one has, where it has, like, straight edges to it and stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
You had to keep getting it to keep your rank around the lunch table.
Dude, and that wasn't even 10 years ago.
No.
And I think of how much money Apple's made since then just from their phones.
You gotta get the new one every time it comes out.
Dude, but they're not changing that much. I feel like they changed a ton back then.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing that they've done is like I like the full screen instead of having like buttons and stuff on it. And then like now 3 cameras and stuff.
Right.
Like, I feel like they're not changing that much between each year, and I'd rather them put out like new phones like every like 4 years.
I agree. And I feel like every time a new phone comes out, like I think I'm 2 or 3 phones behind.
Yeah.
Right when the new phone drops.
Yours is newer than mine.
Right when the new phone drops, though, RIP to your battery. It's I don't know what they do behind the scenes.
Oh, in
the back room.
They've admitted, like, Apple.
Yeah.
Apple has admittedly open admitted to them like screwing with people who have like phones that are older, so that way they go get new ones.
Right.
Like my battery life on my phone is starting to suffer.
Yeah.
Like I have to charge it like twice a day.
Take a lunch break, your phone's on like 30% already.
Dude, yeah, and it sucks because you like mine's the Max, right? The bigger phone. It's the larger one that like I used to make fun of, and now I have one.
Right.
But those bigger phones, like you would think it has a bigger battery because it's bigger and it lasts longer. But like when I go hunting, like I don't have a charging source while I'm on like a tree stand, so like I would like my battery to last on my phone so I can play on my phone while I'm in the tree stand. And I don't know, it was really bad, the phone before the one I have now, because like I'd be up there and within like an hour I'd be on like 20%.
Right.
Even though I charged it overnight.
Of course.
It was despicable.
Because we don't got the new phone.
Yeah, but if you buy the new one, they're friggin' like $1,200. Mm-hmm. I haven't even looked at the new one.
$1,400 or a phone at 20% by lunch. It's take your poison.
They know that we're addicted.
Right.
They know that we're addicted, Dylan.
Right.
Like, and then they start telling you your screen time too, and I'm like, I don't want to see all that. Get out of here.
100%.
Do you?
Don't tell me how much I'm on it.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time on your phone?
All the time, man. With work, the good thing is tell
everyone who's listening what you do.
All right, so I run 2 businesses. First one's a social media company called Social Media Handled. Basically, I promote companies, Instagrams, Facebooks, websites. I basically market it as you don't have time as a business owner to run your product and business, and you also don't have time to do your social media at the same time. So I try to do that side for them. And then I run a football company, Fantasy Football State of Mind, with my guys Robert and Dom. Shout out to them. Shameless plug. Sorry.
On Instagram?
Yeah, on Instagram. And basically, we have the Instagram page for free advice. We just joined TikTok, which is intimidating.
Is it?
Renegade. Anyway. I don't know. It's new to learn. But basically, we have a Patreon where we sell betting advice, daily fantasy, Survivor League write-ups. Basically, anything football tailored, we try to bring a market towards that.
So you're like heavy into football?
Yeah, football. I watch other stuff, but I don't feel like I'm as good as it with football. I don't want to like sell a product just because I watch this, you know? It's like I watch basketball, UFC, baseball. We're not going to talk about the Rays. We'll go back to football. Primarily football.
So did you grow up like watching all kinds of sports?
Yeah, literally me and my dad, anytime someone was on, we'd always be watching it, regardless what it was. Normally rooting for the home team for the most part.
Yeah. So what was your favorite sport growing up? Did you play any?
I played a little bit of basketball at the Y. I tried doing football, but I wasn't the biggest person, and my coach put me on O-line, so I literally got sat on for like my first year. So I was like, we're just gonna go play basketball. That's a foul. I'm getting free throws if I get sit on now.
Yeah.
I at least get some shots out of it.
Dude, I love basketball.
Dude, we'll have to play sometime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. We go to I'll tell you off
Okay.
air where we go. But we go play basketball. We haven't played in a minute, but yeah, I really enjoy
It's some
basketball.
good cardio, man.
Dude, I love it. He gotten him into it too.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm down.
So your dad did he grow up playing, like, why was sports such a big thing? Because like for me growing up, the only sports that I was like into were just like, wasn't like a family thing. It was just
Yeah.
what I was into.
I'm pretty sure he didn't play back in the day. I think it's just whatever was on. You know, we didn't have Netflix or Hulu back in the day. So
Really?
somehow we're adults. It's a bad
What you guys do? Did you just like sit and look at each other and just wait for it to come out? Just like, all right, we're just gonna sit.
They were tougher
And you
times.
just stare at each other
man.
and you're like, oh, Hulu will be here one
That
day.
was tougher times. I didn't have the new iPhone. It was a tough childhood, man.
Yeah, you were just playing Snake on your
Literally,
Nokia.
Yep.
Just throwing rocks.
Angry Birds wasn't out back in the day.
Oh man, what did we even do? Well, Snake was the
Snake
one.
was it for sure.
Yeah. So football. So ended up okay. Fantasy football. How long has that been around? Because I've heard about it for a long time.
I don't know when it originated, but I've been playing since I was 13, so at least 10 years for that aspect. And then
So man, you started when you were in like middle school.
yeah,
So,
I would
because we went to middle school together.
yeah
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So around Tomlin time for sure.
Yeah. Google when fantasy football became a thing. Cole,
There you go.
please.
Oh, this is so cool.
So you got into it when you were 13.
Yeah, so
That's when you started your Instagram. No, I'm just kidding.
I think I started in 8th grade. I think that's what it was.
That doesn't even sound right.
Oh,
1962, when Bill, that guy, when Bill took part owner of the Oakland Raiders football team, gathered with some friends in a New York City hotel, and together they created the first fantasy football league, which was dubbed the Greater Oakland Professional Pigskin Prognosticators
Yep, that.
League. Okay, that is the most unfun history I've heard today.
Yeah, I don't want to play fantasy after reading that. That was
Gosh, so you got into the game late. You didn't start in
real
in the
late.
60s.
I was so young when I started, but I mean, I can't compete with 1962. But yeah, my dad was in a fantasy league. A bunch of guys around town, the TC boys, which Turkey Creek boys. That's been around since I was in middle school, so a good 11 years, 12 years, give or take. But it's a big league buy-in, and I would help my dad because he was busy working, and you know, as middle school, I had nothing but time on my hands. So it'd be funny, you know, you could pick up free agents throughout the day when like news would break or whatever, and all the dudes in the chat would be like, Tim, how do you keep doing this? How do you? And he's like, oh, my son, it's my secret weapon. He's over here skipping lunch to go pick up this guy as a free agent.
Wow.
So
Dang.
yeah, I
So
started.
you guys were hardcore into it when you guys got into it.
It was a great bonding moment too, because like literally you're watching the sport, but you're also rooting for this guy on this team. You're rooting for the other guy on this team.
Yeah.
So you're always rooting for something.
So you just got like immersed in learning all about the different players.
Yeah.
Because essentially what fantasy football is like you make your own team
Right.
out of the players that are currently in the NFL, and based upon how they play,
Yep.
it ranks upon that. And then like if they play, like if they're playing and the guy that's on your team is a quarterback and he throws like 5 interceptions, like that's gonna make his
Right.
rating go down
Yeah,
if
it's
it
gonna
was
score badly.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
did that good. Good stuff,
Look
man.
at that. Look at that. I
That was
know
well done.
just enough.
You
I have
explained
just
that better than I do. I
just
was like,
touched the surface.
yeah, I'm like, just check the Instagram out. I
All
don't.
right. I now have told you everything I know about fantasy football. But people do a lot of betting on fantasy football, right? Because there's like
Yeah.
typically like a buy-in, right?
Yeah, there's a buy-in for it. Normally anywhere from like $5 to endless amounts. It's really depending on what you're least comfortable in. Normally it's a 10-man league. That's the standard, and like top 6 make the playoffs. So as long as you kind of stay in that upper half, you got a chance of winning money. And then they normally do like top 3 get some money. So normally third place will get their money back for the entry fee, and second and first place will profit.
So if like say the buy-in's $100,
Yeah.
just for the round number,
Right.
So you have 10 people, $100, $1,000. So
Yeah.
that the third, second, and first place are the ones who they basically third place will get their $100
Yeah.
back. Second place will
We'll
get
like 200, and then first place will get 700.
That's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Is fantasy football the only, or do they do that with like other sports?
They do it with everything.
Does UFC have that?
I don't know. If not, we should start one because that would be very fun.
Yeah, but then it's not a
interesting
team
'cause-
sport though, because
right.
I feel like fantasy football is something for teams.
Yeah, you might have to make your own team.
Ooh,
'Cause you only get
pick your group of fighters. That would be cool. Like
Yeah,
who you think
like everyone drafts
good?
like 5 people. You gotta really like research because you got how long they gonna
Dude.
fight each year. You know,
Dude, if you want to talk about UFC, we can talk about some UFC.
We could do that for sure.
Oof, I'm excited about the main event today, which is Paulo Costa versus.
Marvin Vittori.
You gonna pull it up, Colton? Volkanovski versus. I don't know.
That was a good fight though.
Yeah, it was
I thought-
Volkanovski versus Ortega.
I thought he was going to sleep twice, man. I really did.
Man, oh yeah, and that third round, especially the end of the third round was insane because you could tell Volkanovski almost got choked out.
Yeah.
And he got pissed off.
Right.
And so do you know why Brian Ortega is named? His nickname is T City.
I do not.
His nickname is T City for the triangle choke.
Okay.
Because the triangle choke and the guillotine choke are his
Yeah.
two like signature moves. So he had his 2 signature moves on the champion
Yep.
of that weight division, and still managed to get
Yeah.
not Brian Ortega. Volkanovski is just
Yeah.
insane. He's just crazy.
I
He's
would have
like
went
a-
to sleep
yeah.
ASAP. There's no way I was getting out of that.
Well, as a champion, like your livelihood's on
Yeah,
that.
I gained a lot of respect for him because I thought he lost the last fight to Holloway. Personally,
Well, you probably love Holloway.
I do.
Holloway is easy to love.
he's
man.
so marketable.
Yeah, he's
That was my first like UFC person I followed on Instagram.
we were talking about it the other day. We were looking through that. We always look at the upcoming fight cards.
Yeah.
And I saw like Max Holloway's gonna be fighting somebody I've never heard of before. I was like, oh, so Max Holloway's killing this dude.
Yep.
Like, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting money on.
I think last time I looked,
Max
he's like
Holloway.
minus 700 for that dude, Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So you had to bet $7 to win $1.
I'm not saying that other dude isn't great,
Right.
but
It's Max
Max
Holloway.
Holloway's just something else, man.
We get it for sure.
But,
Yeah, he was like the first dude I followed on Instagram because I used to watch UFC back in the day random. Like me and my dad would meet up with some people and we'd watch like
When it was on Spike TV.
whenever Brock Lesnar was on a pay per view.
Oh,
Ronda
Brock
Rousey.
I didn't realize that Brock Lesnar, like, looking back on it now, Brock Lesnar was not as, like, he wasn't the best fighter then. Like, he became champion, but,
Right.
like everyone loved Brock
Yeah.
Lesnar. I don't know what it was. He was, like, to
Yeah.
me, and I don't know if people agree, like, he was, like, one of the first superstars of the UFC
I agree.
that I remember.
I think it's because he had that notoriety coming from WWE.
I
He
don't
played
know.
in the NFL for like a
I
year or
think it was
two.
that grenade, like, knife thing that he had on
Yeah.
his chest.
So big.
And
Yeah.
he wore like quadruple XL
Yeah.
gloves. He was just massive. He was like throwing cinder blocks. I mean, he was like the back then Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, he definitely took people's lunch money back in the day in school for sure.
He was just massive.
He can have my whole wallet. I'm not.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even want to get within 100 yards of that
No.
guy. I mean, I'm sure he's nice, but
Social distancing before it was a thing.
remember when Frank Mir beat him? I think Frank Mir beat him twice, like devastatingly. It's crazy. Everybody was on steroids back then.
Yeah.
It had to be.
Uh,
But so you watched it back then?
yeah, just for like the main events, like I would just know who's in the main event. I wouldn't know anyone else. And then like when COVID and quarantine happened last year, UFC was like the only sport that stayed intact.
So you got into it
So
again?
by default, I was just like, okay, as a degenerate, what I need to, I was watching spelling bees on ESPN. Tommy out of New York owes me some money. Yeah, guys, I was watching Korean baseball. It would come on at like 4 a.m.
So this is why we're going to talk about the bad side of betting. No, I'm just kidding.
For sure. There's a hotline somewhere we can plug
gambling
in.
hotline. No, so I had a similar story.
Okay.
Like me and my brother, we were watching UFC. We like go on Spike TV because back in the day you had cable, and it was like
Right.
when the good cartoons weren't on, what else did we watch? And me
Right.
and my brother, we were like becoming teenagers then, so we would turn on Spike TV
Yeah.
and watch crazy stuff on there, and then we would watch like the fighting on there. We loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. We would watch like replays of people we didn't even know. We would just love to watch people get starched,
Mm-hmm.
and that would have like there was like shows where it was like top 10 knockouts or like top 20 knockouts.
Yeah.
It's like best knockouts of the year or something like that. We would just watch that stuff all the time. We loved it, and I don't know why we got out of it. Maybe it was just because the UFC started to do more like pay-per-views or maybe we just with growing up hanging out more with friends, but we like grew out of it and stopped watching it as much. I was big into baseball then.
Okay.
I loved watching the Rays play. I
Yeah.
loved the Boston Red Sox, watching them play. For some reason, like I would watch football, but I never got really into it. I started to get more into basketball,
Yeah.
watching basketball too. And then, you know, right before the pandemic, I actually lived right next to Colton.
Okay,
and
sweet.
when I lived right next to him, I was like, man, we were talking about UFC, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to start watching it again. I was like, I just don't have anybody to watch it with.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like what, 5-6 months before the pandemic, we started watching the UFC again, and we'd like find reasons to start watching some of the main events. We were going to like sports bars to watch them and stuff, and we had one bad experience at a really bad. We went to go watch Yoel Romero versus Israel Adesanya.
Oh man, what a fight to watch too.
It was terrible. It was so bad. That fight was terrible. But the co-main event was Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Zhang Wei Li, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Zhang Wei Li versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and they beat.
Yeah,
the
I remember the highlight of
yeah.
that. That was before me, but I remember rewatching it.
Yeah, so they beat the shit out of each other, and then so that fight, we watched that fight, and that was insane. And then, but the worst part is at the sports bar there was an inside outside, and we called before we went. And we're like, hey, do you guys have seats available? And they're like, yeah, for sure. And we've got the fight on. I was like, awesome. So we went there, and they sat us outside.
Yeah.
And that night it was like 50 degrees outside. So we were like, and none of us knew we were going to be sitting outside.
Terrible.
So none of us brought jackets.
Right.
And that was like, you know how Florida is.
Right.
Florida, it gets cold in the morning, cold in the night, and in the middle of the day, it's like 80, 90 degrees.
Yeah.
It's just, that's
You
how it
can't
is.
prepare
during the
for it
fall.
regardless.
Yeah. You have to have jackets and jeans, but you also have to have shorts with you. It's like you have to change.
Whatever
3
you're
times a day.
prepared for, the opposite's going to happen in Florida.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's the truth. But and so that was one of the first pay-per-views I remember. But like ever since then, we started watching them at his house.
Yeah.
And
It's better at your house, to be honest.
Oh yeah. I would rather pay the pay-per-view
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
It's cool too.
Between everybody.
You're guaranteed a seat.
Yeah,
You get to pick what you want.
Exactly. We don't have to worry about anybody being assholes around
Yeah,
us.
right.
Like it's much better.
Y'all can come over whenever to open invite.
Oh, sweet, man. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Dude, because I don't have internet here, we're
Okay.
constantly, it's always at his house.
Yeah.
But no, it's always been a good time. Dude, I've just gotten so immersed in it too. I follow like all the Instagram pages
Yeah,
for UFC.
sure, man.
So the big thing with this fight tonight with Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori is that they're supposed to be 185-pound fighters and they're fighting at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Like,
That's insane, man.
Weight is what they called it, I want to say.
it was a catch weight.
Catch weight, yeah.
Catch weight, catch weight. Well, that's what you do whenever one person can't make weight, and it sucks because I feel like Paulo Costa should give part of his purse to Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I remember
'cause
they were talking about 20%, but I don't know if it got confirmed or not.
I hope so. I mean, I don't. The bad part is I don't really like either of the fighters fighting.
Yeah,
tonight.
that's true.
I don't like. I liked Paulo Costa before the Israel Adesanya fight.
Yeah.
When he fought Adesanya and made all the excuses in the world,
Yeah.
and they were talking shit back and
All
forth
the
with each other.
wine.
Yeah, like I like Israel Adesanya as a fighter, but like I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like the amount of shit talking that always goes on back and forth and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
I do like Izzy a lot.
yeah, he's an amazing fighter.
I thought it was
For
funny
sure.
that tweet he put out. He's like, "Look at both my sons fighting each other today." I was like,
Yeah,
"That's
I thought it was
hilarious."
pretty funny. I realized that I was like, neither of these guys. Marvin's last fight was Adesanya, I
Yeah.
believe.
And
I just-
somehow he said he won.
And Marvin Vettori's like, I think I won, and I'm like, dude, you didn't watch the fight that we just
Yeah,
watched.
no,
Yeah,
we're not talking about the Kevin Holland fight.
yeah. It was another one where he just laid on top of Kevin
Yeah.
Holland. Yeah, I love Kevin Holland though. Kevin Holland's
That's
hilarious.
one of the most entertaining people in the
yeah,
sport right now. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Talk about marketable.
Yeah.
yeah. The UFC almost didn't let
Big
him.
mouth.
Yeah, it's like Colby Covington.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Colby Covington.
Right.
You heard his story, right? Like how he
No,
almost
I've
got-
only got to see him fight. I think once so far.
So Colby Covington, he fought. I think his last fight was Kamaru Usman when Kamaru broke his jaw like a year and a half ago. So Colby Covington, he's like straight up an asshole, but it's like a character that he put on.
Right.
From what you want to hear from the
Right.
commentators and
Okay.
stuff is that he puts on a character.
Yeah.
And he does that because it draws more eyeballs. More people want to watch him lose.
Yeah.
But he never does. He's incredibly, according to everyone that talks about him, they say he's extremely respectful.
Okay.
But when he talks so much shit,
Yeah.
because he was gonna be going into his next fight. This is like a long time ago before
Yeah.
he was who he is now, and the UFC said they were gonna cut him regardless of if he won or lost. They said they were gonna cut him, and so when they said that, he was like fuck this and just started like talking so much shit, and like basically because of all the shit he was talking, like a lot of people tuned in to watch him lose.
Gotcha.
So it was like a week before the fight, they told him he was gonna be cut, and then he just started talking. So he basically took on this persona
Yeah.
that ended up working.
So he basically saved his brand by
Yeah,
being
and
the
now-
bad guy.
and now he's like one of the he's an incredible fighter.
Yeah.
But
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was he with that guy? It was sometime in this last year because I haven't watched it a long time. But was he the guy that fought and then Donald Trump called him like right after?
it's possible. He's one of those big like dudes.
Yeah.
He always wears like MAGA hats and
Okay.
yeah. Well, he does everything he can to get as many people to hate
Yeah,
him.
and I was like, it wasn't even a pay per view. I'm just like, wow, Donald
Yeah.
Trump's out here calling these UFC guys. I was like, I didn't realize how big the sport is getting.
Yeah, hey, Donald Trump goes to him.
That's crazy.
It was the only sport on.
Yeah, that's on.
Yeah.
That's how I got on too. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
I
they-
think the first fight card I watched was I think it was Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem, like
Oh,
during
man.
during
Yeah.
COVID quarantine, and
Oh, that was sad, man. I remember that fight.
yeah,
'Cause
there was
remember,
such a build up.
That was right after they found the remains of Walt Harris's stepdaughter who went
Yeah.
missing,
Yeah.
and that was his first fight back. And I wanted him to win so bad,
Yeah.
but Alistair Overeem is just a monster.
Right. Yeah,
that's
I remember there was so much because the main event they try to build it up and stuff. So like going into it, I was like, I don't even know Walt, but like that's my guy right now. And then I think it was like second round, he got knocked out or something. I was like,
Yeah, it was sad, but I mean, there was extremely respectful. I mean, as Alistair Overeem, though, you're not going to go in to lose just
Right.
because he's got a
Yeah.
sad story. I mean,
yeah,
know
you
what I
can't
mean?
just get beat up.
Man, Alistair Overeem. Ever since they started testing, or they started testing for juicing, he's gone down.
He's not even in the UFC anymore, is he?
No, I think he fights for one of those other organizations. But I'll be honest, I don't watch any of those other
No, I don't
organizations. Their highlights might show up on my feed,
Yeah.
but
I just now got into UFC. I can't branch out yet. It's too early.
Dude, I've tried to like figure out how to like watch Bellator, and
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. But or
You
at
probably
least I
gotta,
haven't
like,
put that much effort into it.
Yeah, you probably got to subscribe to some platform like Peacock.
Maybe.
I'm still over there for The Office, but it's whatever.
Yeah, you're on Peacock for The Office. Yeah,
Literally, that's it.
dude. It's I was telling somebody the other day. It seems like 2021 really was shitty because The Office left Netflix.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
It went downhill after that.
Yeah,
it
pretty
really
much.
did.
I mean, tell me how correlation doesn't mean causation, but
Right.
to me, there it does.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I feel that. My downtime got affected, and I'm incredibly salty about it.
Yeah, dude. Like The Office, I probably watched The Office, and I'm not even exaggerating. Probably 7 times.
Wow.
Like I just,
That's
it
amazing.
was just one of those shows. Like I would like put it on to make noise in the
Yeah.
background as I was like doing dishes or something like that,
Yeah.
and it just, I don't know. There's so many episodes, and they're all funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
a lot of people say season one's tough to get through, but I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, it wasn't as funny as the
Right.
like seasons like 3, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6. Those are like the prime ones.
Yeah.
But
There was some parts of the show that I was like, why are they doing this? Why are they adding it in?
yeah.
Like when they brought the camera guy and he caught feelings for Pam, I was so mad about that.
Yeah, that was a little,
I was like, you guys are falling off.
sometimes it's a swing and a miss,
Yeah.
So, everything's, I mean, that with running a social media page, not
Right.
every one of your posts is the
Uh-huh.
best.
For sure. For sure.
What's the most difficult part about running? So you're on social media all the time,
Right.
And that's probably like I know me, like I try to be on social media like less.
Yeah.
Is it difficult to like keep a good balance?
I think it's tough, especially starting off with new businesses, because like by default, I'm not gonna know every company I work for right off the bat. So like, I gotta learn air conditioned stuff. I gotta learn restoration stuff. So normally when I start off, I try to learn the product ASAP because I don't want someone to ask me a question. And I'm just like, let me go ask my boss, because it's like, why are they paying me?
Yeah.
So I would say learning all the product, and I try to look at other people and see like what they're doing and try to see how I can put my own twist on and improve it. But I would definitely say starting off just learning the basis of everything.
Yeah. So the hardest part would be learning, but like, do you find yourself like mindlessly scrolling on Instagram ever?
I feel like since I post on it so much, I rarely scroll now. Like,
That's good.
I feel like if I'm like watching UFC on the weekend and like I'm on commercials, I'm just like, okay, now I can.
Yeah.
But I feel like since I'm working on it so much, I don't spend my time on it seeing what everyone else is up to.
Mm.
Which is weird because like normally that's the whole purpose of having social media is to see what so and so's up to. But I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't have time to do that and post for all these companies.
That's one of the things I've been thinking about recently. It's like a bug that keeps entering my mind. Is just unfollow everyone and
Yeah.
only use social media to post
Yeah,
and to show other people what you're doing. And if they want to follow you,
Right.
they're great.
yeah.
It's one of the things.
Because I mean, it does take a lot of time off your hands.
yeah.
I mean, it's real nice to see what everyone you like's up to.
Mhm.
But I try to do it like once a week or so, because the thing is with the algorithm, I could see something today and then 3 days later still see that same thing just based on how the algorithm is. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I know if I check it just on the weekend, I'm guaranteed to just see nothing but fresh stuff.
Yeah, because you didn't check it all week. Right. Yeah, because dude, it's very easy to get hijacked. Like I'll go on. I've noticed. So now I have a podcast Instagram, and I have my own Instagram, and I'll notice I'll like go on my phone to post on the podcast Instagram, and it'll almost be like unconscious. It'll be like I'll get on my Instagram and I see the first post. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that about? And then I like scroll down, and the next thing you know, it's been like 20 minutes since I went on there with the whole purpose of going to go post something on like my the podcast Instagram. It's difficult keeping up with it for sure. Because it that's what it's designed to do. Is it's designed to hijack
keep you intact,
you. Yeah. Well, because they're trying to make money off their advertising.
Right.
I
would say my biggest downfall is YouTube. Like I'll be watching just say a sports highlight, and then an hour later I'm trying to figure out how to fix my kitchen sink, and I'm just like, my kitchen sink's fine. Why am I on this?
Yeah.
It's just that recommended section on the right side. It keeps you in line.
These algorithms, man, because it knows. And essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially all the algorithms do is it shows you more of what you want to see.
Right, that's 100% it. It tries to tailor towards like your explore page based on your search history. It's crazy how much info like they have on you. Yeah,
because they look at how much time you looked at something on a video, whether you liked it, whether you commented on it, whether you sent it to other people.
Yeah,
it tracks all of that stuff, and it that way. It can be. It's so easily for you to like get hijacked by stuff like politics. Right. That's a huge one for like a lot of people know nowadays like the. 5 years ago when I got, or not 5 years ago when I got Facebook, but when Facebook was like at its, I would say its most heyday,
right?
Like nobody's parents had it. Like no old people really had Facebook,
right?
And we all were kind of like learning what it was about and whatnot. And you don't realize that you're getting hijacked.
Yeah.
I think that's when we started to learn that. And then now like my parents are on Facebook, my grandparents are on Facebook. Like so many, like I think the average age for like a Facebook regular user has went up incredibly, and I think that those people don't realize how the algorithm works, or they do and they don't use it to their benefit because it's very easy to just be like, oh well, what's happening in politics, he said what, he tweeted what, like, oh my goodness, and then you're sending it to all your friends, and then the next thing you know, you're like, I feel like the older people that are on Facebook are like, their Facebook is more tailored to how ours used to be like 5-10 years ago, before we realized that the algorithm was either for you or against you, but you decide which one it is.
Yeah.
And so like I've tailored my Instagram more, because it's pretty much the only one I use. I've tailored my Instagram to be more like beneficial things, like motivational people that work out, like people that talk about diet and or like healthy eating and different foods. So like I've almost became a learning resource, but I still get UFC stuff,
right?
Because I like the UFC, and like it definitely gets my interest whenever they show that Paulo Costa can't make 185 pounds, and then they're doing 195, and then he goes, he can't make 195, and that's why I'm betting, because I bet you Marvin Vettori was ready to make weight, and I bet you that he loses tonight because of that, and because Paulo Costa is going to go in so strong,
right?
Because that dude is
he's jacked. His physique doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, well, he becomes a raisin to make 185 pounds. They suck all the liquid out of him.
Right.
He makes weight, and then he balloons up probably 10-15 pounds within a day. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I don't know. I was telling Colton that I should. My thought with how to avoid weight cuts, because weight cuts have got to be terrible. They're terrible for you.
Be brutal.
I would say if they're randomly, because they're already right now in the UFC, they use USADA, which is their anti-doping agency, and they're allowed to show up at your house randomly and drug test you, and there's like you have to be ready at a moment's notice to get drug tested when you're a UFC fighter. Like it's part of your contract. Well, I think that when you're drug tested, you should also be weighed by USADA, and then every time they weigh you and drug test you, and I think there should be a minimum of like 5 to 10 times a year, and then they take the average of your weight for that year, and that's what weight class you have to like fight at.
I like that. That'd be cool.
Because then
Costa would have no chance.
Because then if you want to fight at 155 pounds, but you weigh 175, like I think you would see all those fighters like shift up a weight class.
Because all these dudes after the weigh-in, they bulk up.
Yeah, it's normal, and
I wish they vlogged after the weigh-ins. I just want to see what all they eat in, because they'll be coming in the next
day
differences.
To fight,
looking crazy.
Yeah, Yeah, but Paulo Costa especially. I mean,
Yeah.
he's on some supplements.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know
He's
what
on
I'm saying?
something for sure.
Whatever he's taken, it is not
Yeah.
trackable by that drug test, or he's found a
Yeah.
good way to pass it. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
it's
I like
weird.
Vittori tonight. I mean,
I-
he rarely gets finished. And
Yeah.
that's normally Paulo's bread and butter.
Yeah, Adesanya hasn't finished Vittori. That is
Right.
for sure. He definitely finished Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
Definitely finished
He
Paulo
was
Costa.
dry humping him after. That was disrespectful. It was
I
funny,
mean,
though.
I mean, it
was
was.
entertaining.
It was, but it was kind of like Paulo was asking for it.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
deserved for sure.
if you're gonna lose, you're like, I don't know. I'm one of those people too. I would be super, super respectful.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. If
I say that, but like when I play,
I am a pretty good shit talker when it comes to basketball.
I was about to say like I'm the nicest dude, but when I hit a 3 in basketball, I'm like, yeah, I did that.
Get the arm down.
You saw it, Dylan Curry.
Dude. Every time, every time we play basketball, I'm like Colton, you don't want the sauce. I'll like show up and I'll be like, man, I showed up with a full bottle of sauce, Colton. You better be ready. And I love it so
I
much.
say that in like 10 minutes, and I'm like, especially full court. That's no joke.
Dude, I'll do full court 1-on-1. I am
Oh.
not scared,
Oh,
Dylan.
okay.
I'm a runner.
I don't know if I can play with y'all then.
No,
I don't know.
no, he definitely doesn't do that.
Maybe some 5v5s full court.
Yeah. No, I definitely love playing basketball.
1v1, you're gonna have a lot of wide open shots on me. Then if it's full court 1v1s, I'm just gonna be cherry picking on my own end. Just waiting.
No, we should definitely play basketball.
I'm down,
That'd be cool.
man.
But yeah, like I said, it's very easy to get hijacked
Yeah.
on those social medias.
For sure.
And I feel like a lot. That's why maybe I think that's got a lot to do with social media algorithms. I feel like it's got a lot to do with how divisive everyone is politically in the country.
Yeah.
Because it shows you more of what you believe.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially on Facebook.
yeah, Facebook. There was a thing that went around for a while where you could go and like follow this route where you went into like deep into your settings, and it would show you like what political stuff it has you marked as, whether you're like what they call it, like super progressive, neutral, conservative, super conservative, or something like that. And
Yeah.
like I don't know. And when it gives you political content based on that, and I feel like that's terrible. I mean, at
That
least
is
politically
crazy.
speaking, it should show you both sides of the coin, and you decide.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like the majority of the country isn't right or left. I feel like the majority of the country is like split
Right.
down the middle. You know, some people believe some things on both sides.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
or they're just like, go Kanye West.
Yeah, or they just don't care.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, I would say that the majority of the people that vote or that feel so strongly about politics are retired people.
Yeah.
Because they retire and then oh, what are we gonna watch? Well, the news is on. News
Right.
hijacks my emotions.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Meanwhile, I'm more emotional if my fantasy player doesn't get as much fantasy points as I want.
Yeah. Do you watch the news? Do you feel like you ever get hijacked by the news?
No, not necessarily. Because it's just nothing but arguing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's what I got Facebook for. So I don't need to see this on TV as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, you get
Yeah.
news stuff on like social media and whatnot, or you
Yeah,
try and
normally,
avoid it.
I'm looking for food recipes and sports. If I see anything else, I'm not interested at that point.
Yeah. It's food recipes and sports. So mine's like,
That's literally my Instagram Explore page. It's like an unhealthy food take, UFC knockout,
Yeah.
long football run, Steph Curry for 3,
yeah,
more food recipes.
yeah.
It's great.
Mine's like, if you want mine, it's like Jocko Willink, David Goggins, like all these like Cameron Haynes, like a lot of hunting stuff,
Yeah.
UFC stuff.
David
Occasionally-
Goggins is the author, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's just an all-around
Yeah.
badass. But I mean, so is Jocko.
I love his book, Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah,
Classic.
David Goggins is dope, man. David Goggins
That
is
needs to
dope,
be a future guest. Let's manifest that.
dude. Yeah, I would totally be down.
We're gonna slide in his DMs after this.
Yeah, I would. That would be really cool. I respect the hell out of David Goggins. I had
Yeah.
one of his shirts, and we'll talk about. I was supposed to have 2 more of his shirts, and we have them, but they're not my size. So,
Gotcha.
and they don't do refunds. So David Goggins, maybe
He's got to
help
pay you
your boy
back
out.
by coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
because
fair.
they're not cheap shirts either. They were
No.
like $35 a piece.
Shirts are expensive nowadays.
I don't buy myself like hardly anything, Dylan. Like I do not.
Okay.
Ask Colton, he'll tell you. Like I do not spend money unless
Yeah.
it's on like food. And so like for my birthday this year, someone was gonna buy me. They special ordered 2 of the new shirts that was coming out, but they ordered them in the wrong size.
No.
And so I get them, and I was like,
can we like return these? And,
That's so
and
tough.
we emailed them, and they were like, nah. And I was like, come on. So
That's
and they were
sad.
dope too. Like one of
Yeah.
them says, no part-time savage, and then the other one it says like, I'm not crazy, and then on the back it says, I'm just not you.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Dude,
Nothing's
it's
worse
savage.
when the shirt is not your size.
Yeah, especially at 35. It's like $70 worth of
Yeah.
t-shirts for 2 shirts.
I don't know why clothes are so expensive nowadays.
Dude, Amazon is making a killing because I buy a lot of Amazon brand
Yeah.
shirts or not even Amazon, just stuff off of Amazon because it's so cheap,
Yeah.
man.
I'm pulling up to Marshall's every Monday.
Yeah? Why every Monday?
Is
Is this just the day?
that's how I'm
Okay.
starting my week.
Okay, I didn't know if Monday
Crazy
was...
Cup's closed on Monday, so I gotta.
Shout-
I'm out for myself at that point.
Shout out Crazy Cup
Yep.
Coffee. If you ever want to meet Dylan in person, just sporadically show up there. He's probably there.
100% I'll be there. Tuesday through Friday. 9:30 to 5.
He's an unpaid employee.
100%.
What were we even just talking about?
Overpriced clothes.
Overpriced clothes. Okay, yeah. Like when you said Monday for Marshalls, I was like, wait, is that like when they get their new orders in or something?
I need to
thought-
befriend the manager and be like, yo, let me know when you get the XL.
Yeah,
Hit me
that's
up.
the move.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Discount racks.
Yeah.
stay on that discount rack, son. I don't know, man. I hate shopping so much
Yeah.
that like I'll just go on Amazon and find what I want and just order it there.
I
And I
feel that.
hate it that I'm contributing so much to Amazon, but they make it so convenient.
I'm so impatient for like shipping, so I just like I'll just make a day out of it and go shop just so I instantly get to.
See, I like that instant gratification too.
Yeah.
But I get that instant gratification of not having to leave
That's
my
fair.
house.
Right. That's a good point.
Because you see how far I live from town.
Right. Right.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
30 minutes to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then you got to spend another 30 minutes there
I
and
get
like
it.
be around people.
Yeah.
Be around people.
It also scares me online because I don't know if it's gonna fit. Going back to David Goggins, but
Amazon makes it so easy to
Yeah.
return stuff. And half the time with clothes, you like go to return it and they're like, oh, we refunded your money. Just keep it.
that's
You
fair.
ever
Yeah.
done that?
I haven't.
Yeah. That's happened, I think, to every
clutch.
clothing, anything that we bought online.
Shout out Amazon.
Yeah. Amazon's the move, man. Except for Amazon's not the move, though. I don't know. I feel like I'm contributing to just Jeff Bezos just making more money. He's cheating on his wife. I can't be supporting that man.
No, you can't. No,
Can't be
never
supporting
mind.
that, man.
Back to eBay.
Back to- he probably owns eBay, man.
He probably owns everything right now.
He basically runs the country.
Yeah.
I mean, all those giant businesses, they run this country, man.
Right.
I don't believe these politicians really do it.
It's crazy, man.
But so talk to me about football, man. What's the big moves in football? Give some people some advice.
So let's see. We've been making money on the Cardinals this year. They're the only undefeated team left through 6 weeks, which is pretty crazy. Because off the rip, you're like, okay, going to the
Cardinals?
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals.
For some reason, I'm thinking baseball. But we're talking about football,
Arizona,
right?
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Arizona Cardinals. Is both there? Wait, is there a Cardinals in baseball too?
St. Louis.
Well, that's kind of weird. The two different
It
places.
is weird.
I don't like that.
Yeah. It always confused me too for like Milwaukee Bucks, Tampa Bay Bucks. Let's
But they're
change it
different
up.
kind of Bucks,
Right, it
too.
is.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's still when you hear it in public, you're
There's
like,
only one kind of Cardinal, Dylan.
right.
One is an actual like deer.
Yeah.
A deer buck.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we're like
That's true.
pirates, which is a weird.
That is a weird
Yeah.
one. And
What-
then there's like Pittsburgh Pirates. It's like there's
Yeah.
30 teams like per league. Let's make some like give me a dragon or something.
Yeah. Well, at least they're not the
like the new
Browns.
hockey teams like the Kraken. Like that's so cool to me.
Oh shit! I didn't even know about that.
I think it's Seattle Krakens. I watch hockey the least.
That's a pretty badass name.
Yo.
Yeah.
And we could pull up their logo.
But
Like the color scheme is so cool.
Yeah.
I might
The-
get exposed to. I don't know if it's Seattle, but it's something
Just
Kraken.
Yeah, just type it. I mean, the Kraken. I don't know.
Hey, I got it. I saw it.
Krakens.
You manifested that.
Look
at that.
how clean that
Seventh
is.
of-
Pretty cool.
Oh, the S. Okay, the S stands for Seattle, obviously,
Yeah.
but the S also looks like a dragon.
Yeah.
almost. That's freaking cool.
I love the colors.
The blue and the red.
Yeah.
It's like a teal. That looks cool. And they're like
It kind of
teal
gives
and
me
black
like
and red.
It gives me like Tennessee Titan vibes.
Yeah. Huh. Very cool. Yeah, because the Tennessee Titans have the same color scheme, like a
Yeah,
blue and red.
right. I watch
awesome.
hockey the least, but going to their games is like probably my favorite. Just like the atmosphere.
That's what everyone says. Everyone says
insane.
that if you go to a hockey game, it changes
Yeah.
how you feel about it.
'Cause, like you watch on TV, I don't know where the puck is half the time.
Dude, the entire time.
Yeah.
I do not.
And like by the time I find it, it's commercial break time, and it's like really.
Like I don't even know who's winning. Like
Yeah.
you just hear that the like the horn go off, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, someone
Right.
did something. Everyone's freaking out.
But now the Lightning.
How do you
tickets are
see
so
it in person?
Exactly. I don't. There's something about the crowd atmosphere. You'll hear where they're screaming at, and that's like a good sign.
If you get lost, you can just look where everyone else is
Yeah,
looking.
it's sort of like the sports version of like Where's Waldo. You just casually like, it's intense.
I don't get how people. I mean, everyone likes
Yeah.
something. I guess I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Especially in Florida. Why do we have a hockey team?
Hey, you're guaranteed AC. That's huge. The Bucks. I'm sweating before the game even
That's
starts.
ridiculous. Yeah, the Buck Stadium is uncovered.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
air
excited though. In
conditioned.
2 weeks though, me and the two dudes I work for, Dom and Robert, we're all they live in LA, but I'm going out there to watch the Sunday night football game.
Okay.
So the Rams' new stadium is beautiful.
Is that where is it Rams versus who?
Yeah, the Titans.
Okay.
So I get to see how huge Derrick Henry is. in
I don't even
person.
know who Derrick Henry is. Colton,
Dude.
you want to pull up some Mr. Derrick Henry?
This dude is a giant.
Was he what he plays for?
A running back.
Who's he play for?
The Titans. That's a running back right there.
He do be thicky.
That's
thick.
a big boy.
Yeah. Boy, his arms are giant.
Yeah, they always say if you scroll up a little bit on the left over there, look at that dude trying to up one more. That dude tried to tackle him. He made a grown man decision, and he got stiff armed.
What was the dude that was on the? I want to say he
That's
played
so
for.
sad.
What's the college? Do you watch college football at all?
A little bit.
I remember. This was I think back when was it Oakland? The Oregon Ducks.
Oregon Ducks. Okay.
Yeah, who was it? There was a dude. He was just giant. Ah, man, I can't remember what his name was, but there was like a.
On defense,
I think so.
who was it? Sean Oakman.
Yeah, pull up Sean Oakman. I just
That's
remember.
a big dude.
Yeah, Sean
Yeah.
Oakman.
He stole people's lunch money back in the day
Yeah, but
too.
he doesn't play
No.
professional, right? Yeah, that
Oh my
Oh no,
goodness.
it was
Baylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the colors right. I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, dude, this just shows you how much football I actually pay
Yeah.
attention to. He was just mad. What happened to him? Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got in trouble with the law and he just kind of fell off.
I think some girl accused him of.
That's
rape
what it
or
was. That's
something.
what I think he ended up like. They said
Breaking
he was
the
clean.
charges of it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
then it's
That's
too late now.
sad, man.
That is sad.
It ruined his career.
Yeah.
I mean, go to that picture without a shirt on. Yeah. Just juice,
Yeah.
man. I mean, look at his traps. His traps go to the back of his head, man.
That's insane.
It's like there's no neck between his neck and his. Oh man, that's insane.
He's got more neck muscles than I have muscles entirely.
Dude, he's juicy, juicy. Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what happened though, right? He got
Yeah.
in trouble.
I'm pretty
Some
sure.
chick accused him of rape.
That's sad. He probably would have went high in the draft too.
Oh,
just
for sure.
based
Because
on-
that one picture, the first picture we looked at, that was
Yeah.
like viral.
That's
that was
enough
like
to boost your draft stock.
everyone saw that picture.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Violating team rules
Yeah.
and sexual assault allegations.
That sucks, man. Was found not guilty of sexual assaulting a Baylor student in 2016. Psst.
Second-degree felony sexual assault.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that sucks, man. I hate that.
Yeah,
happened,
ruined his
though.
whole career.
That's sad.
And the sad thing on social media is like the first time they hear something, that's exactly what goes to their head.
Yeah.
It's like even though years later he got proved not guilty, it's still too late.
It's done.
His reputation.
Well, it's just like it's. I mean, it's similar but not similar. It's like whether that Brian Laundrie guy actually killed
Right.
Gabby Petito or not. Every sign indicates that he did, and I would
Right.
agree that he probably did it too.
Yeah.
But whether he did or he didn't, even if a court proceeding came out and said, "Oh, we don't think he did it," like most of the world would be like, "Okay,"
Right.
and we would just move
Yeah.
on. Be like,
Whatever is the first thing that gets put into people's heads, that's normally what they're gonna stick with.
Exactly. That's why.
By then the cancel culture already happened.
Exactly. That's why whenever like O.J. Simpson's trial happened,
Yeah.
like that was the more media that's a part of it, even if he was found guilty, it still like would have been crazy. You know what
Right.
I mean, it's just that's or not politics, but the media
Yeah.
definitely blows it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Definitely. So so with your fantasy football stuff, like, do you make like pretty good money betting on fantasy football?
Yeah, between fantasy football and the social media stuff, it's enough for me to do it full time now, which I'm incredibly grateful for.
That's awesome.
It's interesting with betting because like a lot of people will try to get into it and like bet the house, and then normally you get humbled instantly.
Do you have like principles for how you bet with money?
Normally, I always say don't bet what you can't afford to lose. So like If you can't afford that to lose that $20, don't bet it. That's my best advice. But normally, say you got $100 in your betting account, I would recommend betting like 5% each fight. That way you got to lose a lot for it to be hurting you. And then over time, if you slowly build it up, then adjust your percentage of what you're betting.
See, this is why I'm not allowed to bet. Because
people get addicted, man.
my fiance is like, no. But I'm like, me and Colton we basically bet without money.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, who's going to win?
Well,
How they're
fine
going to
too,
win?
yeah. I mean, as long as you're entertained with what you're... I mean, you don't have to bet serious stuff on it.
Dude.
We thought about it before, but we're like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Every time we've thought about it, I'm like, we should take like $20.
Yeah.
And if we lose the $20, we'll never do it again. But if we
Yeah.
make money off of it, we'll just keep taking that amount of money
Right.
and redoing it, basically never spend more than $20.
Yeah.
From an investment
People will message
standpoint.
us all the time too of like good examples of that. They'll be like, all right, well, like for UFC example, for one of the pay-per-views, they basically did a draft, and if your fighter got a finish, like sub, TKO, you got 1 point. Whichever person got the least amount of finishes, they had to buy dinner that night. So it's stuff like that. It's not
that's
going to
cool.
break the bank. You get to eat. It's
Yeah.
a win-win.
Yeah.
There was one instance where it was like 8 seniors in high school. They were all year betting, and loser had to put $20 towards their vacation. So basically, they're going to this pot, but the reward, they all got to go on vacation. But it's just who was helping chip into it the most.
Can you imagine losing every single time? Being the one
Paying for 4 people to go on this like Disney cruise or something.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're like $4,000 deep.
Yeah,
And
everyone's having fun, and you're like throwing a fit in a Mickey Mouse hat.
You just like go home in the darkness. You're like, shit. And everyone else is like, man, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would suck.
Yeah. But you could definitely get addicted to it. Like we've heard like the bad stories too. Like people like take out a loan because there's a lock. There's never a lock. The thing is too is like
What
you could
does
have.
that mean? What does a lock mean?
It's like it's guaranteed to win.
Yeah.
That's what people will say. But basically, I never bet my entire bankroll for the reason like I could bet the house on Tom Brady to win for the Bucks, and the first play he gets hurt. All my research is out the window.
Yeah.
And injuries happen all the time in sports.
Oh, injuries are gonna happen to you if you do that. I'd be
Right.
punching holes through
100
walls.
yeah.
I would
Feelings
be like,
get hurt.
Yeah, I
You're
would
eating
be,
all the ice cream
I
at
would
night.
take a drill and run it through the center of the
Yeah.
TV. Like I would just be so mad.
That's why you really have to, space it out.
yeah.
Just be smart about it.
Yeah. And then a real bad thing in sports is you'll lose and then you try to chase. So like say I lose on the Rams, I'm like, okay, the Cardinals are coming up in 3 hours. Let me bet even more to try to break even. Then you lose that and you're down both. So people will go chasing. I can't even fathom how much money like the sports sites are making on people like that.
Yeah. Have you made like you feel like most people get like a positive from following your guys' Instagram page?
I would
and
say
gain
so.
some money if they follow you.
I think we profited 5 of the 6 weeks so far for the NFL season. So, but it's tough because like you can recommend what to bet, how much to bet, and sometimes people are like, let me still bet more than what you said. So some people might not be as up as us just because they didn't, bankroll management as much.
So like one of the things I was wondering is like, okay, so say somebody like they do like what I was thinking. They take $20 and they bet it on Paulo Costa tonight.
Right.
They take $20, they bet on Paulo Costa. They say it's going to be a third round knockout or second round knockout, and they win, and they win $40.
Yeah.
So they get $40 back from the $20 entry fee or whatever,
Right.
and then they take that $40 and they just keep rolling it. Next thing you know, they've got $60,000. I'm just
Right.
giving an example. So they have $60,000 that
Yeah.
they wouldn't have had, and they've had it 5 months later.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they might not even make $60,000 a year,
Right.
and they have $60,000, and then they keep betting that $60,000. Like, I imagine that's how a lot of people like they'll be they'll be on a winning streak,
Right.
and they'll be like, man, I'm doing so good. Like, oh, this is one fight coming up. I bet you that Dustin Poirier is going to get knocked out by Charles
Right.
Oliveira.
Yeah.
And then they bet $60,000 that they made, and they started living a lifestyle
Right.
because they're making so much money from betting
Mhm.
that their normal job doesn't support.
Right.
And then they
That
lose,
happens, man.
and they can lose all of it.
That's sad.
So I would say, like my thought, obviously having never done this, but would be if you're going to bet for something, like don't keep all of it and keep reinvesting all of it.
Yeah.
Like take like half of it. Like
yeah.
if you
take a
if you-
percentage out monthly or weekly. Just-
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, because people could win, like you said, like just say the hypothetical, you win $60,000, and then people will bet that and just say, oh, that's not my money. Like it wasn't in my, bank account,
Yeah.
but you still earn that money. So like, take 55,000 of it out and bet the 5,000 or something. You
Yeah.
know, guaranteed. You know,
But take
your
that-
salary.
Take that money and then put it into some kind of investment, like an
Yeah.
actual investment, not
Right.
like a sports betting. If you
Right.
make $60,000, take 50 or take, as you're making money, like, so say we take $20 and we bet it on Polo Costa and win $20.
Right.
Take that original $20 and put that into investment and then
Yeah.
bet with $20 again, or,
Right.
do like a 50-50 rule kind of thing.
Yeah. Definitely got to withdraw money when you can, because at that point you're just donating money. Because if you just keep depositing and not withdrawing, I mean, it's a scam.
I imagine if someone goes, I've got $60,000, they go take out a bunch of like loans and get like a car loan. They're like,
Yeah.
shit, I'm driving a friggin' like macked
Yeah.
out car now.
Yeah.
They get like a Mercedes,
Yeah.
and then they're like anticipating that they're gonna make even more money,
Yeah.
and then they lose all of it
For
off
sure.
of somebody, drinking the night before.
Right.
And
And it's one of those things, to your point, like, say I win big today, that doesn't mean I'm going to win big tomorrow.
Right.
So, like, people will have that, like,
Can't let it go all to your head.
they'll have a big night and, like, oh, I can go full-time with this, quit my day job.
Oof.
But, I mean, you really got to build it up for years to even consider something like that.
Yeah, which you have been.
Right.
But you don't live. Yeah, like you mentioned, you don't live off
Right.
of the money you win from betting.
Right.
You live off of what
Right.
you've.
the advice, the
right.
social media.
Right, because you built a whole thing around, placing money.
Right, for sure.
Which is essentially what you do with fantasy football.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, man. It's a very unusual career path.
It's so different. Like, my whole upbringing with, like, working in general was so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, my only job ever before this, I was an after-school coach at Walden Lake Early Learning Center. I was there for 7 years, so from 16 to 23. And the whole time, originally, I went to Tomlin with you for middle school. And then I was supposed to go to Plant City, but then I transferred to Durant because they had a sports marketing program. And I originally wanted to be a sports, like, broadcaster.
You always knew you wanted to be involved in sports
Yeah,
somehow.
for sure. Yeah, that was just like what I did. So I transferred to Durant, and after my sophomore year, they like pulled the course, and I was like, by then you're 2 years over there, you're stuck over there. Like, you already got friends established,
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, I'm working at the school. Teaching sounded good. Like, that was like the next thing. So I went to HUC. I was taking teaching classes. And then when I did like my teaching hours at like the elementary schools and stuff, it wasn't what I expected it to be. Teachers were not advising it. And anytime you go into a situation and these people are telling you like this isn't something you want to do, like, that's an eye opener. So then I was freaking out about that because I was like, man, these teachers telling me not to teach. I don't know what to do, And I love what I did at the after school thing, but it just wasn't something I wanted to do for a career,
Right.
So for years while all that was going, I was building up the football brand in general, more as a hobby. I never anticipated like being a business or whatever. It was more of like a IG hobby thing. But during COVID quarantine in 2020, I kind of we were out of work. I think I was out of work for like a month at the school just because, COVID, everyone's quarantined, everyone was scared. But basically, I wanted to figure out like what I was going to do then, because I didn't want to just go back and just stay there the rest of my life, even though I loved everyone there, loved the whole school and everything.
It wasn't a long-term
Right.
haul.
So then I thought with the social media company, I was like, okay, I'm doing a good job building up the football company with my guys I work with. I was like, I could tailor that towards people around the Plant City area for like local businesses. So I started promoting that around town, and within a week, I picked up the Lego store in downtown Plant City, Allen's Air Condition. It just started, word of mouth got around, like, oh, I need that. So then,
Well, because I would say a lot of business owners, correct me if I'm wrong, are probably older people that are not very experienced
Right,
with using social
exactly,
media, and they
yeah.
could use somebody like you who is very experienced with
right,
it.
legit, I don't want to call him out, but this person legit said he was still on MySpace, and MySpace was middle school, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna charge you double, respectfully.
Hopefully they don't listen to this.
No.
Yeah, they were still on MySpace. Golly. Yeah, well, as a business owner, they're, like you said, they're focused on,
Their
if
business.
they sell coffee, they're, social media is only a part of it. It's
Right.
a form of marketing
Yeah,
to those
for sure.
companies. They're not going to sell coffee on Instagram. They're going to sell people,
Right.
coming to the coffee
And it
store.
takes time to like content create, get post out, when to post it, what hashtags to use. Like, as business owners, they're not gonna have time to do all that. They're trying to run their business.
Do you have any advice for anybody who runs an Instagram or wants to build their following on Instagram?
Daily post is huge, so you get inside the algorithm.
Constant content.
Yeah, constant content. I would post what you like because stuff's gonna get picked up regardless.
Yeah.
Like, don't post something just because you think it's gonna get good traction.
It's like
Because
like what we said earlier. Like not every post is going to be your best,
Right.
but you never know which one's going to
Yeah.
take off.
honestly, as long as you stay steady, you'll get picked up sooner than later.
Right. Well, that essentially is the same kind of idea I have with the podcast. Is
Right.
just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Discipline myself to continue putting out content.
And as long as you enjoy it, you won't get burnt out on it.
Exactly. Is exactly how I feel. It's just continue to put in. The idea is to have good content,
Right.
and essentially just
Sure.
have good conversations. I mean, and that's
Yeah.
essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to record it as many mediums as we can. We're adding video.
Mm-hmm.
We have good recording software now, and Colton helps me with it, and it's constantly getting better.
Yeah.
But the idea is just if it wasn't something I would love to do, if I was forcing myself to do this, it would never.
Right.
I don't think I would ever continue doing it. But because it becomes talking is just such a natural thing for me that it just it feels easy.
Yeah.
Feels easy.
I respect it.
So it's the same thing with social media. For me, I've noticed for me to post more often, like I try to put more stuff on like my story,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just easier. It's less. I feel like it's less of a commitment than actually
Right.
like posting.
Yeah, I get that.
What do you got? Do you utilize the story much on your
Yeah.
guys' Instagram?
I try to get one post out a day and then try to get a couple stories out.
Yeah.
Just as like a refresh, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of people are using that story stuff.
Yeah.
You guys started
Stories
doing
are
any
effective.
reels since you started doing TikTok?
Not yet, just because there's so many different businesses I do. It's hard to kind of like, I don't want to tell them to film it. So it's like, I kind of have to go to all these individually and do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a Monday thing. Instead of shopping at Marshall's, I might have to go do that.
Oh man, that's super awesome. That's part of the reason, like the whole premise of this podcast is just,
Yeah.
talking to people that just love what they do.
For sure.
Because I feel like that kind of energy is contagious, and I feel like, you're seeing a huge increase in the amount of people quitting their jobs right now because they
Yeah.
hate them
And just trying to do your own thing.
Well, not even a lot of people doing their own things. They're realizing, I've come to the realization, and so have a lot of my friends, that no matter what job we do, we can be good at it. We don't have to like it to be good at it. We can
Right.
still be good at it. So imagine how good you would be at something that you actually enjoyed.
100%.
Right? So like this podcast is never going to be perfect, but I'm going to try and get, if perfect's this line,
Right.
I'm going to try and get me
Right.
as close as
Just
I
keep
can
that
to it.
incline, man. That's all you could do.
Exactly. So, I'm sure if you looked at the first podcast we posted in February,
Yeah.
it was the end of February this year when I started posting them, but I'd been recording them for like 6 months. But if you listen to like one of our first podcasts compared to now, it's
Yeah.
the whole like feng shui of it has
Yeah.
changed,
Right.
So, it's just one of those things, constantly
As
working
long
on
as you're
getting better.
improving.
Constant improvement.
There's stuff like I first posted, like even on like my personal accounts, I'm just like, why did people follow me? This is not it.
yeah. But you find your audience,
Yeah.
There's going to be, people who listen to this podcast and they're just like not interested whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's fine. That is okay.
Right.
But there's going to be people who listen to it and they're just like, I'm going to listen to this every week kind of
Right.
thing. They like, they like me, they like the conversations I have around what I'm interested in, and that's all I'm looking for. Is I'm just looking for the people that want to listen to me. I'm not interested, like if you listen to this podcast and you're just like a friend of mine, which I don't really know who listens to this podcast and who doesn't, but if you're just a friend of mine and you listen to this and you're just doing it to support me and you don't actually like it, like you don't have to continue listening to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not like, I appreciate the support for anybody who wants to do, but
Yeah.
I want the people to follow me that are interested in what I'm talking about.
Right.
I don't have to know them. I just want to, businesses don't, somebody doesn't start making and selling cookies because all their
Right.
friends want to buy their cookies. Because they want people who want to buy their cookies to buy their cookies. you know?
Right. I get that. That happens to me too. Is like I do a bunch of sports content. So like my old coworkers at the job, they'll be like, "Oh, I saw that video of the football play. That was so cool when they scored the goal,
Yeah.
or they hit the 3-pointer." I'm like, wrong sport.
Wrong sport?
I appreciate you.
I saw them hit a home run on that video you
Right.
posted the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah, I
Lightning
get it.
scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Thank you though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you get your audience.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure, because you guys have quite a bit of followers on your what's the name of the
Instagram, Fantasy Football State of Mind.
Fantasy Football State of Mind. So I'm sure you get people that probably follow it that are only 10% interested in it,
Right.
and not 100%. But I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys have of that amount of followers you have. I'm sure there's a good percentage of them
Yeah.
that are people that are balls deep in it.
It's
Every time
intense, man.
some post comes out, they're like, that's the top of their story,
Yeah.
or the top of their timeline. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh shit, like.
You could like we got a bunch of like regulars that'll like have notifications on. Like you literally post something and just refresh, and there'll be like 3 of them like, hey, hey, hey.
The same way you are with Crazy Cup Coffee,
100%.
and the same way Emily is with Crazy Cup
Yeah,
Coffee.
right.
There's people that are that way with your Instagram page.
I'm obsessed with
They're
Crazy
just-
Cup.
Every day they're
Yeah.
like fantasy football state of mind,
Yeah.
fantasy football state of mind. And so I mean, it's going to be the same way with the podcast. Is we're going to have
Yeah.
people who are just that's what they like.
Yeah,
So
I like it.
that's the idea. Just continually working on making it better. So
Right.
what's your future idea for your Instagram and for your social media and everything you're doing?
I think I'm just gonna keep riding this out. Honestly, I'm pretty comfortable with the social media business. I think I'm gonna try to add more companies sooner than later, and then the football. The way I see it, football's never going away. Social media's never going away. So I'm just gonna try.
It's just going to change forms.
Yeah.
All those things are just going
Right.
to change forms.
You just gotta make sure you follow suit, stay in the lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would your advice be to anybody who's listening be to basically, do what you love?
Yeah,
And
I would
it
say.
comes naturally.
Yeah, because I mean, I know friends, our age, like they have solid salary, but they hate their job, and money's not
upsetting.
everything. It helps.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you're not enjoying it, it just feels
What's
like a
the point?
setback.
Yeah,
it really
that's
does.
One of the things, one of the posts I saw the other day says, it's like you might think it's cool to drive a Mercedes, but I see you driving a Mercedes to a job you hate.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd rather
Right.
ride my bike to a job I
Right.
love than drive a
I'd
Mercedes
much
to a
rather
job
be
I hate.
happy riding a golf cart if I enjoy my job.
Walking, bro. I'd
Yeah.
walk. I don't even care.
You can have
To a
that. I'm
job
not
well.
walking.
Yeah. So I get it, man. It's super like uplifting to hear that kind of message, though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for
Just
sure.
doing what you love.
Yeah.
Because like that's if you work a 40-hour a week job, like
Right.
where you really work, you probably actually work closer to 50 hours a week
Yeah.
because you got to drive there, you got to drive back,
Right.
you have like lunchtime in there too. You spend so much time with the people you work with too, because if you don't like the people you work with, that's got to be even miserable,
Right.
More miserable. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's just, and then people just force themselves to do their jobs that they do because they start making the money that they make, and they, that's what I've talked to him about is, I have pretty good control of my finances, and I
Right.
feel like that's not something you're set up in life to do.
100%.
That's something you have to force yourself
Yeah.
to do. Did you you went to college?
I went to HCC, so nothing past that.
Yeah. Did you get your AA?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I got my AA.
Right.
It's same thing, and I was just like, I'm done with this.
Right.
So like, but imagine if you went and did like a bachelor's degree, took out a bunch of student loans. Next thing you know, you're $80,000 in debt,
Right.
and you realize that the career path that you have. So if you have $80,000 in debt, and maybe that job with that degree pays $60,000 a year, so you have to pay back $80,000. That's going to take some time to do. But as you're in your early 20s, you start looking around everyone else's, getting married, having kids, and creating families and whatnot. And so you start seeing that too, and you're like, okay, I want those things. So you start doing those things, and oh well, my buddy just got a new car. I want to get a new car. Oh, he can do it. Oh, it's only this amount of much money. And next thing you know, you make $60,000 a year, but you have so much money going out every month that you can't afford to do a different job because you make $60,000 a year, but it takes $50,000 a year just for you to
Right.
cut, break even.
Mhm.
So you get to that point where your level of income to your level of outgoing is damn near the same. So you can't change jobs, and that's how you get stuck in a miserable
Yeah.
lifestyle. And it's very hard to realize that ahead of time and to
Yeah.
get out of that cycle. Or if you're in that cycle, to work on getting out of it.
Right.
It's just, I can only imagine.
It's sad for real.
So, I mean, that's why whenever I meet somebody who's young,
Mhm.
like you and I, obviously I don't meet myself, but when I meet people who are young and that are just doing what they love,
Yeah.
regardless of the money,
Right.
the money's a byproduct. And that's something I've learned from listening to people like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or, like Dave Ramsey's one of the big podcasts I listen to, and, Joe Rogan too. Like all these people, same thing that it seems like to me they have in common is they were doing what they love when no one was watching, no one was
Right.
paying them to do it.
Yeah.
And then they started making money as a byproduct.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, Gary, do you follow Gary Vee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gary Vee, same kind of thing. Like he wasn't, I mean, he just kind of like I mean, obviously he had an idea of going
Right.
into it, but he loves what he's doing.
Right.
And it's, when you love what you're
Yeah.
doing, you don't have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're working. in that
Exactly.
aspect.
Like if I ever started to make money from this podcast,
Right.
it would just boggle my mind and it wouldn't
Yeah.
even feel real.
Yeah.
It
'Cause
wouldn't
you feel like
even.
you're not working.
Yeah.
Like with the football stuff, like we're only 1 year into doing this, like as a premium. Like we did it for free on Instagram for 6 years, because it wasn't a job at that
was just
point.
fun.
Yeah.
And then now you're making money from it.
Yeah.
Like does that like blow your mind?
There's times where I'll like pull up to Crazy Cup and I'm just like, man, I should like be working. I was like, I am working.
That's
like,
crazy.
It's
right?
so surreal. Like it's really a blessing. Like
yeah.
it's funny because like I feel like a lot of people, like regulars that don't know me, they'll be like, this kid, what is he doing? Like is he
Yeah.
just skipping class? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I can't explain it to everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I'm
now
here.
you can. Now you dude, you should just like get a QR code that
Yeah.
links to this podcast.
Right, I'll
and
send
just
them
be
a
like, hey,
link.
listen to
I'm
this.
like, go watch
Listen to
this. Come,
this.
I'm not repeating myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm getting tired of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
awesome,
been
man.
it's been a journey for sure. I had a high school story before I met Rob, because he originally started the Fantasy Football State of Mind brand. I had a page by myself before him called NFL Daily News, and it blew up. I was literally, anytime something happened, I was reporting on Instagram, and I think it hit like 40K followers in like 2 years. And to a middle schooler, it was like that's a million people right there.
Right, but that at that point you probably didn't even realize how abnormal that was.
Right.
Did you?
No, I
I
didn't
thought-
realize how big it was.
Yeah, at
You
that
know,
time, like,
right.
I mean, to me, that's insane.
Right.
If you have all the people following you on
Yeah.
social media, was that maybe 1,000 people?
Right,
And
exactly.
to have 40,000 people
Right.
following you,
I'm
that's
just looking at my Facebook. I had like 300 Facebook friends. It's just weird. I didn't like.
comparatively, yeah,
Right.
that is insane.
But my freshman year, this random follower messaged me and asked to buy my account, and I was like,
What?
yeah, it was so weird.
What?
And I was a freshman, so he offered me $500 for it, and $500 as a freshman is a lot of
Dude,
money.
That's a freaking.
So I was like, yeah, send that. Like, yeah, I'll start over.
Yeah.
And then,
do you wish you wouldn't have sold it?
in a way, just because 40,000 in 2 years, but I'm also like, I got a lot of Outback that year. $500.
He ate a lot of food.
There was a lot of Outback going towards my stomach that year, but it was weird because like,
As a freshman too,
I don't know how-
balling, going
right.
to Outback.
yeah, it's like you're a freshman, you don't have any money at that.
Dude, that was
point.
McDonald's
Yeah,
times.
we were
if I could
grubbing.
even get
you had
there.
the permits, so you had to pay your mom to go like.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but it was weird because he didn't have PayPal, he didn't have Venmo. He's like, "Oh, I'll just send you cash to the mail." So I was like, "This is never gonna happen." Like, so I'd never thought anything of it. And like 2 weeks later, I got an envelope, and there's literally just five $100 bills, and I'm just like, crazy. And
Bro,
so
well,
of course,
what was even stopping him? Like at that point, you hadn't given him the login stuff, right?
Yeah, and
You could have
so
just took the $500 and
exactly. People were like, my friends are like, "Oh, dude, he can't trace that." I was like, "He has my address. He sure can."
yeah.
But so I gave it to him and stuff, and it was unfortunate because like a month in, he just stopped posting it, and like the whole count just basically got wasted.
Do you know if it's still active?
I can't even like,
Find it.
yeah, it's not a thing. So I feel like he changed the username and then just stopped posting.
Yeah.
But anyway, I restarted, and then as I restarted, the guy Robert that I work with now, he's like, "Yo, just come help me out of mine. Like, I have a family going, so I can't run as much as I want to, and I'm a freshman, so I can put all the effort into it I want." So I've been working with them since I want to say 2013. I've been with Fantasy Football State of Mind, but it's just crazy how it transpired.
The progression.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you imagine like in as a freshman to tell your parents like that you're gonna do what you're doing now?
yeah,
You're like, oh, I'm gonna, this thing that I'm doing on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make enough money to do that where I don't
Right.
have to have a regular job. And
Yeah.
they're like, get the fuck out
the
of
typical
here.
response like, "Okay, yeah, but make sure you go work here."
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
meantime.
It's like, no, get a job at like
Right.
UPS delivering packages. What are
Yeah.
you doing? Like,
My
stop
parents
it.
have always been supportive though, which is huge because I feel like that's a thing that can get taken for granted. Because
Yeah,
you talk to other people and it's not like that. Like,
yeah.
there could be like parents forcing you to do something.
Like, what, you're doing a podcast?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Whatever. Go play fantasy time,
Yeah.
Ryan. I'm
So
like, no,
I
that's
definitely
what
had
I'm
a
doing.
very fortunate upbringing. Like, super grateful for that.
Yeah. What do your parents do?
My dad climbed cell phone towers, which it's crazy.
That's-
I overcame my fear of roller coasters quick since he was my dad. They were slinging me on the Hulk ride at Universal, like right when I hit the age limit.
Sheesh. I'm terrified of heights.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been climbing cell phone towers since he was 18.
Does he like it?
He enjoys it, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. I don't.
He's a prankster too, so I remember there was a time where one of his friends was aggravating him and he was on a cell phone tower for that day. So my dad took me to the store and we bought paintball guns. And when you're on a cell phone tower, you're in a harness, you're stuck up there. So I was
You can't move.
I was like 6 or 7 years old, and my dad's like, "Get him, son." I'm just, and the dude's saying every curse word in the book.
Because he can't do anything.
Yeah, he was stuck
what
up
an
there. It was
ass.
incredibly unfortunate,
Yeah.
but he was a prankster for real. And then my mom's an X-ray tech.
Okay.
Yeah, and she
So they
just
both have
started
like
doing.
relatively normal jobs.
Yeah, she
And
just
then
started
they're-
doing like realting and stuff.
And then their son's like, I'm gonna like do some stuff on Instagram.
I'm just gonna take over social media real quick.
And they're like, I mean, with how new social media is
Yeah.
too, is like a thing. Like,
Right.
they're probably like, dude, what are you like? I mean, I
Yeah.
imagine they're just like, okay, Dylan's young, let him just
Right.
be crazy.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, Dylan's like making money, and they're like, whoa,
Right.
hold up.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy how life works like
It's
that.
so crazy.
Because like our parents' generations, they're like they grew up and you had to have a normal job. That was
yeah,
it.
because like respectfully on their part, there's gonna be like skepticism, like you're gonna do what?
Wait, it's called Insta what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
what do you
it's
do
like
there?
people nowadays are like influencers or modeling for ads and stuff. I mean, there's so many different incomes you could do for social media. It's so fascinating. To
Yeah,
me.
it's crazy how many people like podcasting.
Yeah.
Like, people can make money doing
Right,
podcasts.
yeah.
Like when I told my because one of the people I wanted to come on the podcast is my grandmother, and when I
Yeah.
told her about it, she's like, she knew nothing about it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, do you know what like internet radio or do you know what radio is? And she was like how there's like talk shows and stuff. She's like, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, so you know how there's like ones that come on like every 8 a.m. this specific radio host comes on and talks, and people
Right.
go in and listen to him. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well he gets paid, right? And they're like, yeah, he makes money because he's on the radio. And I was like, okay, podcasting is that on the internet?
Right.
And they're like, okay, but like, can you actually make money? And I was like, and then I like, the famous one from like last year was like Joe Rogan's deal with Spotify. Like he made like $100 million. Like what?
What a boss.
Yeah, I know.
Respect.
Yeah, well, like they just don't realize that you can make. I mean, that's Dave Ramsey makes a ton of money through selling books
Yeah.
and advertising through
Yeah.
through his how many people listen to him.
Yeah.
They don't realize that you can make money doing that. And They're
Right.
like, nope, you need to be a teacher. You need to go teach middle school, and you
Right.
need to do that for 40 years, and then you get a pension and you retire. Then you can travel and you're old and you go to
Yeah.
funerals and doctor's appointments.
And I always love the upside of like podcasts, social media work, because you can never be limited. Like new opportunities can always get presented to you.
Dude, they wouldn't believe that there is a huge YouTube channel called Murder and Makeup.
Yeah.
Like if you told your grandparents about it, they'd be like, "Pfft, what?
Right.
And it's just this lady who
Yeah.
puts makeup on
Right.
as she tells murder stories.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Good Mythical Morning, huge.
I've never even heard of it.
Brand Link.
But I've never heard of any of
Yeah.
these, but it doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, there's people full time reviewing food. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm watching it.
They don't realize there's how old is he now? 8 years old? There's like a kid who reviews toys on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And he makes like $8 million a
Yeah.
month.
Right.
Millions.
Yeah, he's a multi-millionaire. His
Yeah.
parents can you imagine being that kid's parents? Just
Yeah.
like videos.
Right.
Like where they don't have regular,
Yeah.
there's no way they have regular jobs now.
No.
Like
They're full time just recording the kid at that point.
That's awesome. And I think the ability to do that has never
Yeah.
been better with
Yeah.
social media
That
now.
stuff's so motivating to me. Like,
Yeah.
this kid is full time reviewing toys. Like, I respect it.
Like people hate Jake and Logan Paul, but man, they made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And off of Vine, they
Yeah.
started a big. Do you know who Luke Combs is?
Yeah.
The country singer. He like from what I understand, he got to start off of Vine.
That's crazy.
And Vine's not even around anymore.
No.
He was just like it was singing songs on Vine like as a joke. They were like
Yeah.
funny things at first, and people were
Uh-huh.
like, "Hey man, you got like a really good
You-
singing
you
voice."
look nice with
And then he
it.
started doing like
Yeah.
covers of songs,
Mhm.
like little covers. 7 seconds on Vine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
quick.
Yeah, and so you do like 7-second videos, and people are like, "Hey man, you're pretty good." Now look at Luke Combs; he's balling out of control.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a famous story I heard about him was when he was in New York and he was sold out whatever stadium is there that he was
Yeah.
playing at, and right before there, like that was when he was really like took off, and he went to go to a Rolex store because he had a grandfather or uncle or something like that always wore a Rolex, and he wanted to get a Rolex too. And he went to the Rolex store, and he's always wearing like fishing shirts and jeans and boots and a hat.
Yeah.
And he walked into a Rolex store, and this lady or this person who's wearing like a suit is like standing there and was like, "Sir, do you know how much these cost?" And he's like, "Do you not?" They didn't know who he was.
Right.
He's like, like, do you see the billboard out there, like of who's playing whatever stadium this is tonight?
Yeah.
Like, that's me. Like, I'll pay for this thing in cash. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's insane, man. There's so many different ways to make money nowadays.
Yeah.
That if you're doing a job you hate, like, take the time. My advice would be take the time, figure out how you can set yourself up to where you have the least amount of risk possible
Right.
to find what it is you love to do and then do what you love to do.
Right. For sure.
Because I mean, that, to me, like I could tell you my perspective. What's your perspective on retirement? Because I'm assuming your parents have retirements and they want to retire.
Right.
What is your perspective?
In terms of like when to retire?
Or when to retire? What retirement means to you? Like what? Like because like I'll give you an example. Like when my grandparents retired, they retired both from the school system.
Yeah.
And when they retired, it was to go travel more,
Right.
and they didn't really have any plans besides retiring and maybe doing some hobbies.
Yeah.
And they worked pretty much to normal jobs, and then
Yeah.
when they retired, it was like in their late 50s, early 60s, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I feel like retirement for me, I feel like since I love what I do, I don't picture myself like anytime like, oh, I'm just gonna drop everything. If I was working like a 9 to 5 somewhere I didn't enjoy, that's probably my biggest concern is like, okay, I need to set myself up long term.
So you can retire.
Right. But now I'm just like, if I love doing what I do, why would I stop it?
That's exactly what I think too.
Right.
I mean,
Great
my
minds think alike. I love it.
well, I think that a huge thing that my parents have taught me is retire. But then like you watch, and a lot of people retire from jobs they hate,
Right.
and within like a couple years after they retire, they die
Right.
because they basically
Right.
have nothing to do, and they basically
Yeah.
sit there and waste away.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to create a life that I don't need to retire from.
Right.
And that's the whole idea. If I
Yeah.
could, my thought, I don't remember who I heard it from, but basically it was like, if you were given $100 million tomorrow, obviously you never have to work for money again. That's a
Right.
lot of fucking
Right.
money.
Right.
And you make a lot of money. What are you going to do? Are you just going to go travel? You're
Yeah.
just going to like go travel occasionally. How much traveling can you do before you're like, okay, I need to like figure out something. It'd be
Right.
cool for a little bit, but then
Yeah.
you need to figure out what would you do to pass the time.
Right.
Or you're just going to sit there and watch Fox News all day?
Right.
Or CNN?
Yeah.
That sounds miserable to me. That sounds like how people die.
100%.
So I'm like, what would I do? If I had all the money and all the opportunity in the world, I'm like, I probably would start my own podcast. I love having conversations.
Right.
And like people don't even know, like I'll have conversations with people not recorded on a podcast, and I'm the same level of energy. When
Right.
we because people don't know, we met at Crazy Cup
Yeah.
and had coffee, what was that a month
Yeah.
ago or something like that?
Uh-huh.
And we talked, and like I just loved having
Yeah.
conversations like
I
that.
told you, I was like, dude, you're so awesome. Like,
Yeah. I appreciate
I
it.
was like, why are you leaving? You
Yeah.
don't want to stay here all day.
Yeah,
and
I had to
hang
go to
out?
the gym. He had gotten to the gym,
Yeah, I
but
remember that.
it's I get energy from talking to people
Yeah.
and having conversations. It's like lights a fire under my ass,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
I love it. I'll talk to people. I love hearing people's stories
Uh-huh.
and hearing like what makes Dylan,
Right.
what makes Colton.
Right.
I think that's awesome.
Everyone's got their own story.
Well, that's
So
how you learn.
fascinating.
Most people, I feel, learn from others by having conversations. I feel like that's the
Right.
best way. I mean, if you think about what is a book, people learn a lot from books. All
Right.
it is a conversation that someone is basically having,
Yeah.
and you're a third party. Essentially,
Right.
a book is like a readable podcast
Mhm.
in my mind.
Right.
And I'm like, to me, this is becoming the most easy way to digest new ideas, new concepts
Yeah.
is through listening to people, because me and you are sitting here talking, Colton's over there, it's almost like we're having a conversation. Colton's
Right.
kind of like bystanding of it, but whoever is going to be watching this on YouTube or listening to it, it feels like they're sitting there right there at the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You feel connected.
Exactly. Like, we're not going to hear what they have to say. They might be like shouting in their car, or like they
Right.
might be running and they'd be like, no,
Yeah.
no, fantasy football's stupid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they might, but they can be a part of a conversation, and I feel like maybe that's why I like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like it's one of the biggest growing industries is probably podcasts and social media and stuff like that.
It's never
So
going away. It's here to stay for
it's
sure.
only going to change forms.
Yeah.
That's essentially what happened with social media.
Right.
Is what was before social media. It was like the news, the
Yeah.
radio. Like,
Right.
oh, did you listen to like this radio show? And
Right.
then you guys would talk about it. And that's
Right.
essentially what
That's
social
how
media
social
is.
media's been too. Like Facebook, what's on your mind? Instagram, show me a picture of what you're doing.
Yep.
TikTok, show me a video of you dancing
Yeah,
with what you're
funny,
doing.
it's funny videos. It's like
Yeah.
AFV. You remember what AFV was?
Yeah.
America's Funniest Videos.
Yeah.
Like that used to be the thing,
Right.
but now you can just go to Instagram
Yeah.
and
Or
funny
YouTube.
videos will show up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's why like TV isn't like regular TV as we knew it 10 years ago,
Right.
15 years ago isn't such a big thing anymore.
Right.
You know, all these cable, it got really competitive, and all
Right.
these cable companies came out, and it
Netflix took over.
and
Hulu.
these new ideas come through.
Yeah.
You know, like music. Think about how different music was 10 years ago.
Right.
If you wanted to listen to a new song, you could catch a sample of it on
Yeah.
Apple Music.
Uh-huh.
Or it wasn't even Apple Music. It was iTunes.
Right.
You'd listen to a
You
sample
had
of
to
it.
go
It
to
was
the
like,
Fire Store at the Brandon Mall.
yeah, exactly. Or you download it off LimeWire or something like that.
Oh, LimeWire.
illegal.
All the viruses.
Yeah, exactly. And if you wanted the cleanest, easiest to do version, you just bought it offline. But it's
Yeah.
$1.29 per song.
Yeah.
And like back then, that was like you'd buy an album and you'd listen to it for a whole year. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we spend $15 on an album,
Right.
but now you can spend $15 a month and you can listen
Right.
to whatever you want.
Yeah. I used to buy the iTunes gift cards at Publix. and
Dude,
Go buy my
yeah.
$1.29 songs.
Dude, I forgot about
Yeah.
iTunes gift cards.
It's like, do I buy the app, the game, or do I buy the song?
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to hear how all this
We
technology.
put a lot
stuff,
of money into iTunes back in the day. Thinking back, them gift cards, that was all my allowance.
Yep. I bet you Apple was pissed when Spotify came out. Like, shit, we got to do
Like,
something.
now we gotta do a monthly membership. Dang it.
Yeah. I wonder how they make money. I'd be curious to like talk to their CEO.
Yeah. I was always curious how much like the artist got paid. Like, was it per download? Is
I
it
heard
flat?
I heard it's not good. I
Yeah.
heard that's why apparently there was something that happened with like Taylor Swift
Yeah.
when she was like going to go on
Right.
Spotify. They didn't want to give her enough money
Yeah.
or something like that. Taylor
She's
Swift's
good
like,
off her YouTube videos. Those things get so many views.
Really, yeah, she's balling for sure.
Yeah.
Like, the whole music industry is weird, but you know, like she's not allowed to play her country songs anymore. Did you know that?
So I didn't know that.
Yeah, because the people, her first record label that she was with, they like own it, so
Oh, okay.
she's not allowed to perform those songs.
That's crazy.
And they were her songs, but
That's so
because
wild.
the record label
Yeah.
was involved, it's their content, quote, something like that.
That's less money, but just stay unsigned at that point.
Bro,
Just
but
so
like,
you have free range to everything.
That's like classic T Swizzle.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
T Swizzle. Did you ever see that rap video she had with T Pain?
No.
It's looking back, it's probably cringy, but it was very entertaining. We'll have to watch it off camera some other time.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I don't want to be known for that.
yeah, no, we don't need that. That's not something we need to put on here. No. When you said T Swizzle, I was like, I'm pretty sure she says that in her song.
T Pain, yeah.
Yeah.
T Pain and T Swizzle. That's
On
cool.
the same track.
Oh man, I'm curious. I mean, like I said, I don't think that social media is a new thing. It's just a new way. People are always going to consume content,
Right.
and as long as I don't think you'll ever be out of a job.
Right.
Instagram might not be around in the next 10
Right.
years, but you might have shifted
We'll
that
move
focus.
somewhere else.
It's not like people like fantasy football might be
Right.
might not be around in 10 years, but
Yeah.
it'll just be something else.
Yeah.
And as long as you're keeping up with that,
Yeah.
and that's why Toy Story went out of business. They didn't keep
Right.
up with the internet.
Right.
So
I feel that. Yeah. Yeah, sports, it's like you said with social media. Social media is always expanding. But like with the football page we run, like there's fantasy football, there's sports betting, there's FanDuel and DraftKings, which is separate. I mean, there's so many different avenues. So kind of like since we provide everything now, it's like no matter where they go, we already have like our way in that door. You know.
well, it's because you're interested in. It's like on one hand you're interested in the subject matter,
Right.
and on the other hand you're just showing your interest in the subject matter,
Right.
which is through the social
Yeah.
media. So as long as you keep that interest in that subject matter,
Right.
there's always going to be people that are
Right.
into football. Like you
For
said,
sure.
football's like, the likelihood that football goes away.
Right.
Like, come on, people
Right.
be loving football.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
For
So
sure.
I don't think it's ever going to go away. So, and podcasts might not be here, but it'll just be something different. People are always
Yeah.
going to listen to people talk,
Yeah.
unless we stop talking. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
You ain't gonna stop talking.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
for damn sure I ain't gonna stop talking.
Ever.
I
Ever.
love it.
I love talking, man.
Next
My
Instagram
favorite
clip right there.
thing. Yeah, best believe it.
I like that.
Think I'm gonna quit. Watch me, bitch.
Yeah, I
But
feel like
there's so much
podcasting and
else,
YouTube, like people are so attached to that, like just seeing the visual of it or hearing the audio. I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna go away.
I can't. It can't. I love it too much.
Ryan
man.
won't let it happen.
No, I'll be the only one. I'll be the only one. I would always do something though.
Yeah.
I think that I've learned that that's what I want to do for the rest of my life is some kind of
Mhm.
conversation, some kind of communication. I feel
Yeah.
like that's my strong suit is communication. So, we'll figure something out. It'll work one way or another.
You got it, man.
So, when you bet, what do you use a specific thing you bet through? Because like I know you mentioned DraftKings. That's probably like
Yeah.
one of the biggest ones, I imagine.
They're legal in Florida for like daily fantasy, which is like fantasy football, but it's just week dependent. So like for Sunday, for example, FanDuel and DraftKings, you'll basically set a line just for that week. But regular fantasy football, you have that team all season.
So it's
that
different in
makes sense.
Florida.
In Florida, well, DraftKings and FanDuel in different states, you can do daily fantasy and you can bet online there. Like it's like a sports bookie. But in Florida, you're not allowed to bet through them. it's really state dependent. There's so much gambling stuff going on worldwide right now where each state has a different way of going about it right now.
Do you think that's how do you feel about that?
I think eventually it'll be legal in all states. It's just some people, as gambling, it could be considered like scummy in an aspect, like, but there's people like me that like take it like very nonchalant, casual, just
it's
grind
just
it
like
out.
anything else, man. Coca-Cola isn't good for everybody.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
it's
like,
not for everyone. No,
exactly.
I agree with that. That's a good point.
Yeah, but why should it be illegal to everyone here?
Yeah.
Because some people can't handle themselves.
Yeah.
It's like I always say, if you made everyone in the United States drink a glass of water, how many people are going to die?
Right.
There's gonna be people that are going to die from
right.
drinking a glass of water
Yeah.
somehow, some way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what happens when you get that many people.
Uh-huh.
If you have, it's like I look at it like this: if you have 300 million people, and you have 300 million people do one thing, it could be walk to their mailbox and
Right.
back. And I bet you that like if 99.9999% of people do it and don't die,
Yeah.
you still have a small percent of people that killed. You know what I mean?
I
And
get
when you
it.
talk about 10,000 people died, well, like as a percentage, that's not too terrible.
Yeah.
But it's still
I get it.
10,000 lives. I mean, it'd be
Right.
terrible for 10,000 people just to up and die. But
Mm-hmm.
only things that are true in life are death and taxes.
Yes, sir.
And that Dylan's gonna run a social media page.
100%.
I'm a damn sure talk.
I like it. Yeah, you could really bet anywhere nowadays. You literally just Google sports betting and you just look what websites benefit you. Since they're illegal in certain states, you can't technically throw in money like cash, like via PayPal or something. You have to convert it through like a crypto, like Bitcoin, for example.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're into crypto too, huh?
Not necessarily.
Just for
just
the
to get
transition
my
aspect.
yeah. But it's been a minute because, like I said, you don't want to deposit all the time because at that point you're not winning any money. So
Yeah.
like it's been a while, but that's such a fascinating thing to me too. I don't know too much about it yet, but that seems like it's never going away in its own right.
Now that one of the laws passed where they're gonna monitor any transaction that's like over $600,
Right.
$600 or more,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like you're gonna see that all it's gonna do is drive more people towards cryptocurrencies.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see. I definitely think it's going to be something that's utilized. It's just to me, it's too hard to understand right now which
Yeah.
one's going to be the one, or if
Right.
it's going to be one, or if it's going to
Yeah.
be
I've noticed that too
something
because
else.
like a lot of people, like just say Twitter for example, there's a community on that, and it'll take one dude with a big following to be like, hey, go do this, and so obviously the number is going to fluctuate. So it's kind of just like everyone listening to everyone else to where they basically decided what the numbers are going to do up or down.
Yeah.
Well,
I from what I understand about cryptocurrency, which realize is not a whole too terribly much, but I try and simplify things in my brain. And what I
Right.
realize is that it's supply and demand. There's a limited number of crypto coins
Right.
of whatever cryptocurrency, and when people spend more money of it, it drives when the supply doesn't change, but the demand increases, the cost of it. It's just supply demand curves,
Right.
pretty much. And if the supply stays the same, but the demand increases, then the cost of that supply increases.
Yeah.
And then when the demand decreases, it goes down. It's just to me, it's basic economics. And then you get people like Elon Musk that understand that,
Right.
and they know that they have a bunch of people listening.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna do this I'm gonna buy this coin. This coin's gonna be the next one."
Yeah.
And then everyone else goes, "Oh shit, if Elon's doing it, like I
Right.
better hop on board."
Yeah.
That's what he did with the Dogecoin, and a
Right.
bunch of people hopped on board, and then he sold it all.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people lost money off of
Yeah.
it. But
he benefited.
I mean, to me, that was
I get that. That's a lot of those influencers do that quite often. Like going back to Gary Vee, like I don't know if you guys saw it, but a while ago he was promoting like sports memorabilia, like cards, Pokemon cards. What was I gonna do? I'm going to the yard sale the next day to look for some Charizards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like this dude told me to do it. I'm gonna do it.
Logan Paul had that Charizard
Yeah.
necklace when he fought Floyd
That was
Mayweather.
fire.
Yeah,
That was clean.
yeah.
So-
And I'm sure that drove up the cost because
Yeah.
these influencers increase demand.
Right.
When you increase demand and the supply
Yeah.
doesn't change.
And us
You know?
as like followers to them on social media, they're like, these guys are pretty big.
Yeah.
In my best interest, I might as well just do what they say. It's crazy.
Yep. It's like a Buffalo Trace bourbon. That's one of Joe Rogan's like sponsors
Yeah.
or something, and
Yeah.
and they literally like they cannot keep up because when you make a liquor, it takes like 5 years from like
Right.
what they're planning for today is forecasted based
Right.
upon today's numbers,
takes
but
a while.
but that stuff won't be ready for 5 years
Yeah.
or whatever time it takes for them to make it. And so if they have a huge demand right now, They didn't
Yeah.
plan that 5 years ago.
It's impossible to get all those orders out.
Exactly. So they have to increase their prices to
Yeah.
try and slow down, the demand,
Right.
because the supply is
Yeah.
fixed essentially.
Right. That makes sense.
So that's how I view cryptocurrencies. Is basically that
Yeah.
they're a fixed thing.
Yeah.
Or they're
I'm
fixed-
competitive
fixed
too. Like the
supply.
second I see my number go down, I'm pulling it out. Like
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'd rather just invest with like sports stuff, so at least I'm getting entertainment out of watching it.
Now, do you have like a investment fund separate of all that stuff to try and build up some money and as a background backup kind of thing?
Like a savings.
Well, sort of like I say, I was more talking like an IRA or something like that.
No, not necessarily. Because like if I withdraw money, it'll normally send it through like the Cash App, and then I'll just send it to my bank at that point.
And okay, so what's your are you gonna try and because to me a huge part of my life is trying to become financially independent.
Yeah.
To where my money makes money for me.
Right.
Investments.
Yeah.
So do you have any kind of thing like that you're going to be doing or plan to be doing?
Not yet. Right now, I'm just putting in savings. Eventually, I would like to do something like that, but it's always like, when do you have time to? But you got to make time to do it per se.
Right. You should see a financial advisor.
Yeah, for sure.
I would recommend seeing a
Yeah.
financial advisor or maybe listening to a financial podcast and learning about
Yeah.
it. Like I would recommend you get a Roth IRA,
Okay.
which I don't even know if you know what an IRA is. IRA stands for an independent retirement account.
Okay.
And it's basically for independent people to
Right.
make retirement accounts. So
Yeah.
you don't have a job that has a 401k. A
Right.
401k is just a company retirement plan.
Right.
And so because of that, you don't basically have a retirement unless you plan for it yourself. So if you have an IRA, you contribute the amount of money you put to it. The reason that you want a Roth IRA and the reason that Roth is important is because Roth, like in a 401k, a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA, there's traditional and there's Roth.
Okay.
And so 401k, think it's through a business, and then IRA is through yourself. But then there's Roth and traditional of both of those things. So when you hear Roth, that essentially means after you've paid taxes on the money. So it's after you've paid taxes on the money, when you pull that money out of the retirement account, you do not have to pay taxes on it. After 59 and a half is the rule for the government.
Yeah.
After the age 59 and a half. So you don't have to pay taxes on it. That's amazing because most of the money when you invest money is made by the investment of it.
Right.
You get 10% interest on it over that certain amount of years that you've had it in, or your average interest rate or whatever. And then that's how you get most of the money. But if you do it before taxes, yes, you're putting more money in initially, but you're going to be taxed on the amount of money that grows. So most of the money you end up making in an investment or a retirement account would be in the growth of that retirement account. So the growth, like you might, if you put in, so a Roth IRA, most you can put in is $5,500 a year as an
Okay.
individual, unless
Yeah.
it's went up to $6,000 now. I don't know.
Okay.
So if you put $6,000 in it a year, over 30 years, what's 6,000 times 30, Colton? Can you pull that up? But so you've put in, I don't know, let's call it 200,000, 300,000, something like that. But that retirement after 30, how much?
180,000.
180,000. So $6,000 a year for 30 years. That's $180,000 you put in. That's not even like a house right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you put in $180,000 slowly over time.
Yeah.
But in that same amount of time, with it growing by you investing it into something that's even semi-safe,
Right.
you can. I mean, like we can pull up if you pull up a investment calculator, Colton, a Roth investment calculator, and we can show you that if you put $6,000 over 30 years every year, and you get if you do a safe one, which is I recommend the an index fund. Okay, so starting balance 0, annual contribution, change that to 6,000, please. And then 30. How old are you, Dylan?
24.
It doesn't really matter. I guess you could do 20 to 50, because that ends up being 30 years. For the current age, just do 20, and then do 50. That's 30 years, essentially, is what it's trying to figure out. And then expected rate of return. The average rate of return for the S&P 500. So if you get an S&P 500 index, means it follows the S&P 500,
Yeah.
and the S&P 500 is essentially the 500 biggest companies in the United States. It's ran by Standard & Poor's S&P. Otherwise, their average rate of return through all the recessions and everything is an average of like 10.89. So do 10.89%, Colton, and that's including 2008, 2009, like big changes in that.
Yeah.
Tax rate, leave it at 25%. That means basically what you pay in taxes a year on your money, and then calculate that.
Oh, why is it not showing up that little thing at the bottom? It's normally where you were just hovering. Is normally there's like a little window there. Taxable savings at age 45. Why is that not showing? Interesting. Huh. I don't know. The little thing isn't showing, but it would really be eye-opening because it would show.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how it's going.
Yeah, it's essentially there's a graph there.
Yeah.
Annual contribution 2017. Okay, change the annual contribution to 5,500, Colton, because it doesn't like that. You're getting like an error message. Maybe that's why.
There
Okay.
it is.
So a Roth IRA after 30 years of, so you would have invested 5,500 times 30.
Right.
So it'd be less than $180,000 over 30 years. But if you look, the Roth IRA after 30 years at age 50 would be $1.18 million.
That's crazy.
That's just the power of compounding interest.
Right.
You do like 65.
Yeah. The more time you leave it. So $5 million for 15
That's
extra years.
crazy. Wow.
Did I just blow your brain, Dylan?
Yeah, my mind's blown right now.
And that's for putting $5,000 in a year.
That's so crazy.
5,500.
Yeah.
So do 59, Colton, age of retirement. So if you start at age 24,
Yeah.
which is how old, you're 24 now?
Yeah.
So if you're 24 and you retire at age, actually change it to 60. I'm sorry. I know I'm asking you to do a lot of things. I appreciate you so much, Colton. Out of all the people that help me with the podcast, you're my favorite. So if you retire at age 60, so 59 and a half. If you retire at age 60 right
Yeah.
now, you'll have $2.2 million of
Wow.
tax-free money, Dylan.
That's crazy.
Tax-free. That means you can pull out $2.2 million
Yeah.
tax-free. The government, the only money you'd spend is whatever money you spend from that would be like if you 7% or 8.5% for
Right.
buying your crazy cup
Yeah.
coffee.
Right.
That's
so
the power
crazy.
of investing.
Wow.
I think I broke Dylan.
Yeah, it's a
Spot-
good time for commercial break.
I gotta pee. You want to pause and come
Yeah,
back?
that's cool.
All right, cool. Okay, so Colton changed the expected rate of return to 8%, and it's
Okay.
still $1.1 million. Like 8% is really conservative, and the reason I say like 10 to 11% is because like the S&P 500 index follows the S&P 500, which is the 500 biggest companies in the United States, and if the 500 biggest companies in the United States goes under, yes, you lose all your money
Right.
if it tanks.
Yeah.
But Dylan, if the 500 biggest companies in the United States all go out of business tomorrow, what do you think's happening
Right.
in the world?
The whole world.
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole
yeah.
world's going down.
There's some big issues happening, and you're not worried about money at that
Yeah.
point. You're worried about how many bullets you have
Right.
and how you're going to eat that night. You're not worried about whether
Right.
you have retirement.
100. Okay. I see what you're saying.
So it is. People view investments as risky, and with
Yeah.
anything you do in life, there's risk. But there's got to be
100%.
risk assessment.
Yeah.
And to me, risk assessment means understanding completely. I mean, you understand with betting.
Yeah.
You are a lot more comfortable with betting money on football than I am.
Right.
But you know way more about it than I do.
Right.
And
I see what you mean.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just the
Yeah.
same thing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel relatively comfortable investing money
Right.
into things like in stock market and everything like that
Yeah.
because I understand
Yeah,
quite
what
a
you're
bit
comfortable
about.
knowing. You know, you're
Exactly.
informed and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I don't know how much longer we can keep going. I think I broke Dylan. I mean, I showed him the
I keep
power
looking
of
at the screen like, whoa.
power of compounding interest. It's insane, man.
It's just like when I looked at the screen, went from Sean Oakman to investing. You know, so rightfully it's going to catch me off guard.
Yeah, it's just Sean Oakman, and now we're talking about your retirement.
Yeah.
I should be a retirement account
Yeah, an
salesperson.
advisor or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
I
give you my
don't think I know that
business.
much. Look, I got one customer.
There you
now.
go already.
Shit.
You converted me from the podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna be at Crazy Cup every day now.
There you go. Me and you, we'll get some assigned seats and everything.
Oh man. So I'm trying to think. Like, the whole fantasy football thing just blows my mind. Still, like, I still don't.
It's
don't
crazy,
like,
man.
Yeah. You're betting on like people. That's the
Yeah.
craziest part.
It's like it's a good community, but there's also some bad stuff with it. Like, if your player doesn't get fantasy points, you know, they'll be like getting death threats on Twitter, and it's like people are crazy.
Is fantasy football like the website, or is that just the term for like?
That's just the game, the term. Yeah.
So do you go through like a website?
Yeah, Yahoo does it. ESPN hosts them. There's a new one called Sleeper, which is pretty big right now. But yeah, those are like the platforms.
Yeah. Do you do all of them, or is there one specific?
Yeah,
one?
I do all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, we'll do a bunch of like leagues with followers and stuff just to bring like interaction and stuff. We'll do like a $10 or $20 buy-in just to like have somewhat interest to keep it going all year. So
What's the most, like, if you don't mind, what's the most, the biggest buy-in you've ever done
so
for fantasy?
the big league we do in town with my dad. I have my own team now, but it's me, him, and 8 other people, and it's a $500 buy-in.
Woo.
So it's intense.
Yeah.
So most
Have you won that one though?
I've won 4 of the last 10 years.
Woo.
So
Maybe that payout's probably.
Millie Rock on camera or Dilly Rock.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a patent on that.
Dilly Rock. That's
Dilly
your
Rock.
name?
That's just my dance move. Whenever I win some money, I'll
Yeah.
do like a gif of it or something.
Yeah. He ain't going to Outback no more. He's going to nice
No,
places with
no.
that money. He's going to Crazy Cup every day.
I'm still going to Crazy Cup to this day. Never switch up.
You find what you like. Stick to it, man.
Yeah.
Stick to
But
it.
that's real fun because most of the time, on Yahoo or Sleeper or ESPN, they're online drafts because there's people across the world. So literally, like, you all go online, like, on your computer and draft. But for this one, it's offline. So we'll meet. We normally rent the Walding Clubhouse out for the day, and we'll draft there. We'll get like a giant board plastered on the ceiling. One by one, you put your draft picks on the board. Every time, whoever you pick, even if it's a good pick, they'll make fun of you. That's just the nature of it.
That's the camaraderie
Yeah,
of
they're
it.
like, wow, Tom Brady, he's terrible. And it's like, dude,
Come on now.
chill with that.
It's
Come
T.
on
Brady.
now.
Come on now.
Yeah, go drink your beer.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same guys every year.
I think that's a guy thing, just to talk shit.
Yeah.
Because I'll do the same thing with all my
right.
friends.
It's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
Just
It's like when I show up to basketball with Colton, I'm like, you
Right.
don't want it. Sometimes he
yeah.
wins.
As long
Not-
as you don't
not
get your
many- not
feelings
many
hurt.
times.
Yeah.
Not many times does Colton win. It's mostly me.
Yeah.
I'm LeBron. Go ahead.
There's like league punishments. That's a thing in fantasy. So like last place in our draft, they have to wear a dress to the draft the following year, and it's hilarious. But there's all kinds of stuff. There's a really popular one right now where if you come in last place, you have to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House, and every waffle you eat,
Consecutively?
yeah, but every waffle you eat, it takes 1 hour off your time.
That wouldn't be so bad.
There was one dude, I don't know how many waffles I could eat personally, but there's one dude that did it, and he said by the time he left it, he got invited to someone's quinceanera. Like, he was becoming friends with everyone in this Waffle House. And, to me, I'm just
Dude,
like,
I want to do that just as like a thing.
you're going to start a league and come in last on purpose.
No. No, because then I lose money.
Yeah.
Just somebody buy me waffles. Dude, that's crazy. So I'm assuming you've never done that?
No,
God.
this one,
Dylan, my boy Dylan would be too good.
I'm not trying to come in
He's
last.
too
I
He
just
runs
wear
our social media for fantasy football. If he
Right.
comes in last, he loses all his credibility.
all credibility. The guys will come after me. But I wear basketball shorts, so there's no way I'm pulling off a dress. So I don't even care if I don't win. I just don't want to come in last.
Yeah.
I just gotta beat 8 other people at that point.
So do you wear a dress, go to Waffle House, or is that two different things?
That's 2 different things.
Ah, that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Not for the person doing it. They'd be like, who is this crackhead? at
Yeah.
Waffle House? So, okay. That makes me wonder, how many waffles do you think you could eat?
In 24 hours?
Yeah, like what would walk me through your timeline?
See, my thing is
I'm
like
sitting down, I'm eating 3 right off the bat.
right off the bat.
No, probably 4.
4.
You know what? Let's go chump change 5.
Whoa.
I'm doing 5 waffles right off the bat.
See, I don't eat a bunch of food, but I eat a lot of unhealthy food. So I fill up easily. I feel like I could eat like 2 or 3. But I feel like I would try to revisit it every like other hour or something. Just
What
try
happens
to.
if you throw them up? Does that take the time away?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because if you eat 3,
You gotta have like a contingency plan on that because I don't know.
because if you eat 3 waffles and you throw up,
Go to the restroom. Do your
throw up.
business. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that like? Oh no,
I don't
we're adding
know.
those 3 hours back up.
Yeah.
If you eat 7 of them and you throw up, you're like, nah, man, we're taking those
Right.
7 waffles off.
Yeah. Because see, for the challenge personally, I don't think it would like destroy me because I'm spending 7-8 hours at Crazy Cup every day. So I'm just gonna bring my as long as I got good Wi-Fi.
Do they have Wi-Fi at Waffle House?
I don't know.
Waffle Wi-Fi. I'm
I'm getting a hotspot before I do that challenge though.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not. You
Yeah,
gotta
for
come in
sure.
prepared.
Yeah, that would be, dude. That would be. I mean, think about all the people you would see
Yeah,
at
in and
Waffle
out,
House in
yeah.
24 hours.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking like I'm used to the same people I see every day at a coffee shop, but Waffle House, you're probably gonna have some fun stories to tell at the end of that. I'm sure there's some fun encounters.
If you live through it, like,
Yeah.
dude, that's I don't even know.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Maybe I don't sit down. Maybe my game plan is a
Yeah.
waffle every 30 minutes or every
Okay.
45 minutes or
That's
something like
fair.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you eat 5 off the bat, it's going to be 2-3 hours before you eat another
Right.
one. But if I do
Yeah.
one every 30 minutes, I feel like that's a better,
like 6 hours.
Yeah.
slow and steady wins the race.
Right.
Yeah.
Waffles are low key filling. Now if
The
I
Waffle House waffles, come on, man! I'd be getting the peanut butter and the chocolate chips.
yeah.
Reese's waffles.
See, I'm trying to do like an Olive Garden challenge with the breadsticks because I'm losing on
man.
purpose at that point. I'm losing on purpose at that point. Yeah.
He loves the Supa Toscana or whatever it is. It's like a spicy sausage soup. That's
That
his
sounds
thing. That's
good.
Colton's thing.
Fettuccine Alfredo for me. I'm basic.
Dude, that's even Olive Garden.
I know what I'm having for lunch
Olive
today.
Garden in general is basic, and then you're gonna throw on some chicken Alfredo.
Yeah, on
Jeez.
everything.
Jeez, man, that's a crazy challenge.
It is, man. There's some there's
That's-
some intense ones.
That's so fun, man.
It
That's the
is.
camaraderie of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could do a free league and just last place has to do something. Like,
Oh, I feel like we should do that. We should start making challenges for when we bet on UFC fights. Not even like okay, like dude, I'm gonna start making it fun.
Like the other person dresses as the other person for the next podcast or something. Now that you guys are on video,
Yeah,
there's all kinds of stuff you could do.
yeah. You're like, okay, Ryan, I'm gonna pick a word that you have to
Yeah.
incorporate somehow in the podcast.
Yeah,
Times through.
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Or
Go to
like, or
Goodwill.
pick a subject that I can't talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, no swearing or
Oh, yeah. Or pick a word I can't use.
yeah,
Dude, something like that. That'd be cool.
yeah. There's endless stuff you could do.
See, it's hard with Colton and me and like a lot of my friends because if we do eating challenges, someone's gonna throw up. Like, dude, we went story with me and Colton. We went shooting once, and there's a restaurant in this is like a super small town where we go
Yeah.
shooting at. And we went to this restaurant that's like it's like a classic throwback diner.
That's cool.
Like, oh,
That's
would
a cool
you call it a
vibe.
diner or just a dive or it's something that Guy Fieri would go to on like
Okay.
Food Network, you know, on
That's
his
a great
diners,
show.
drive-ins, and dive. Like, dude, it's like an ice cream parlor type deal. They got like burgers,
Yeah.
like,
So
and
it's
it's like,
good vibes.
dude, it's freaking, it's awesome. Colton went there for the first time, and it's one of those places like you know how like today when you order an appetizer, it comes out and it's like enough for everyone to get like a bite.
Right.
You know what I mean? But these appetizers are the ones where like you can have as a meal.
It's generous.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So like we both got waffle fries,
Yeah.
and we were not expecting the plate that came out. It came out this massive plate.
It's a
And
good surprise.
It was like loaded waffle fries. So we each had our own.
Yeah.
And we were starving because it was the first thing we ate all day. We had eaten all day.
Right.
Sorry, words are hard. It was the first thing we ate all day, and like so we smashed that, and we were like, okay, we would already ordered burgers too. So we got there was like the cowboy burger, which was like bacon, 2 burgers, cheese, like onion rings. It's like this massive burger.
Yeah.
So we both ate one of those, and so at that point we're demolished. Like
Right.
I'm so full.
Yeah.
It's like coming out of my eyes.
Yeah.
And then it's an ice cream place, so like obviously I had to get ice cream.
Yeah.
Hold it all
You
together.
make a whole different like room in your stomach for dessert.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
how it is.
So we're placing our orders, and I was like, dude, you got to get the peanut butter blast. The peanut butter blast is the move because he likes
Yeah.
peanut butter. I love peanut butter. It's like hot peanut butter, hot fudge, like soft serve ice cream. It's so
I need
good.
that.
So good. And we get that. But like I go to order, I was like, they're like, do you want a small or a large? And I was like, let me get a small. And Colton's like, come on, man. You didn't come all this way to get a small.
What a good friend.
He said, go
what a
big.
good friend.
He said, go big or go home.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch now. You already ate all that food. So we both had larges too. Colton and I walked out looking like pregnant ladies. Like we were 8 months pregnant. Dude, it was.
That's awesome.
I was walking out thicker than a Snicker. It was ridiculous. Like I was just.
That's awesome.
It was.
I
it
do
was
that too.
intense.
Whenever I go out, I'm trying to overeat. Like I'm trying to just settle. I'm cooking at the house at that point.
And it's such a bad habit.
It is.
But
Because you'd rather have more than enough than not enough.
I feel like that's like that animal instinct. You just
Yeah.
never know when you're going to eat again, so
Yeah.
you eat as much as you can
Yeah.
while you can. Like,
Right.
You saw those tacos I had
Ah,
yesterday,
dude, those look
That
so
was just
good.
my appetizer. That was just like 10 tacos right off the
I
bat.
could have sworn
And
you
it's
were at a
like-
restaurant. They were looking authentic.
Well, they were. I mean,
Right.
my fiance's Hispanic, and her mom makes some
There you go.
bomb tacos.
Right.
Oh, so good. Man, you make me want some tacos now. Yeah, we gotta
Olive
talk
Garden
about it.
breadsticks, everything.
Olive Garden bread. What is with the Olive Garden?
It's a whole
breadsticks?
feast. Those are good. You did those in some Alfredo sauce?
Oh my gosh, man, this guy. Carbs in the cheese.
Yeah,
so
you don't
good,
need to. You don't need me on here for health recommendations.
Yeah.
Just football talk from me. That's all I could offer.
Just football and social media. So, what has been one of the biggest challenges you've ran into since you started running your own social media stuff for other businesses?
Other
Not
businesses.
just your fantasy football stuff. I guess probably you said earlier it was difficult to like learn the.
Yeah, definitely learning all the other businesses would
Yeah.
say. Yeah, because obviously I'm trying to get a different business for each. Like if I work for a realty company, I don't want to work for another one just because it's kind of like cross promotion. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So like once I get one company, I have the loyalty towards them. So then I try to branch out to something new.
Mm-hmm.
So I normally go into these just basically like showing examples of all the other companies I work for, but it's like tough at the same time because I don't know their side of the business yet.
Right.
So that's definitely the toughest thing for sure is like not knowing what you're walking into per se.
Right. What's your like? How do you sell running social media? You said earlier that you kind of do. You kind of go, hey, like you sit down and you basically tell them. Is that what you do? You
Yeah.
basically go, hey, you're busy doing air conditioned stuff. Let me advertise your air conditioning business.
I'll try to pre-research. Like I'll look for companies around here that either A, don't have a social media at all, or it's not.
So do you only do local stuff at the moment?
Right now I try to just do Plant City. I'm trying to branch out more to like Brandon, Lakeland, Tampa.
Yeah.
But like once you add on a new client, you try to like make sure you got them for a couple months. Like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
And
Will you
then
feel
start looking
confident?
for it. Yeah.
Do you have the businesses that you've been working for, have they seen a good return on their investment?
Yep. I try to have a meeting with them either once a month or every other month, just kind of like show them the insights. Because most of the time with the business, they don't know how to check that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd like to meet them for lunch. One, to see how the business is doing. Two, an excuse to eat. Who doesn't love an excuse to eat?
Meet him at Olive Garden for some breadsticks and Alfredo.
Right. Tacos next time for sure. I'm going to have Ryan in the back of my mind.
Yeah, tacos.
But yeah, I basically like to hold myself accountable. I don't want people thinking like I'm just posting just because. Like I want them to know that I'm doing what I'm getting paid to do.
Now, do you do paid advertising or is it mostly unpaid stuff? Like, do you pay Instagram for advertising?
No, I don't do ads or anything because ultimately they could do that. Like if that was the route they wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just make my own content and just try to get as much insights as possible on that stuff.
That works out pretty good.
Yeah, it's doing solid.
Have you ever done any paid Instagram ads?
No, never on my end.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's insane. Because you can use those things. I mean, the algorithm probably doesn't like it. I mean, Instagram and Facebook probably don't like people not paying them for getting more views and stuff. But if you're creating content that people want to see, how do you do that for companies that people don't really follow? Air conditioned companies.
You gotta make some funny memes. I made some.
Oh, that's a good point. You know what I was thinking about? I follow an Instagram page called From the Gun Counter.
Okay.
And it's a dude who, I don't know if he owns his own gun shop or if he just works for one, but he just like posts funny memes about like what people talk about in the gun industry.
Yeah.
And like, dude, he's got a ton of followers. Like, I'm obviously one of them. And that's one of my favorite pages to follow.
Yeah. And you might not even be interested in the product, but
No.
you get like, you remember, oh, my AC's broke. Oh, I remember that funny picture they posted the other day. Yeah.
That's a good point.
And on social media too, it's like, even if I'm not posting, like the product or something, as long as I'm posting like a meme or like a testimonial, people will see like a customer review basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to post those, because most of the time if I need a product, I'm gonna go see what the reviews are like.
Yeah.
So it saves you a trip. You can see memes and customer reviews just on this Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've had experience too. Like if I need something, I'll go check out their socials, and if they don't post, I'm not inclined to go use them as a service. I need someone that's steady on top of stuff.
Right.
So that's my main thing when I try to get people. I'm like, look, if you have constant content, people are going to know you're active. They're going to know you're, especially with reviews. Like I'm like, oh, they just did that recently. Like I'm going to use them.
Yeah.
And then, like the word of mouth on social media and stuff, like those events, like anytime they post like, oh, who can I use for so-and-so? And then I'll tag my people, shameless plug.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, that's how, like, word of mouth is probably the number one marketing campaign you can do, I would imagine.
Sure.
That's essentially what I guess my biggest thing with marketing the podcast is having different people on, and then all your followers are going to see you on a podcast, and hopefully they'll come out and check me out, check out the podcast, and whether they like it or not. So, that's a really cool.
Yeah, word of mouth is strong. It can either reward you or it can bring you down.
Yep. If everyone's buying their stuff on Amazon, everyone else is going to start buying their stuff on Amazon.
Exactly.
That's how Toys R Us went out.
Yep. That was a good store.
Rest in peace, Toys R Us. Have some good memories.
Yeah.
Have some good memories of going in the Toys R Us and Brandon.
Went out.
Yeah, exactly. For my brother. Oh man, yeah. Toys R Us was like, I'm sure every kid that's our age probably has a memory of going to Toys R Us like before Christmas with like their grandparents or something.
Right.
I remember going with my grandparents, me and my brother. We got to pick out something if it was under. They would pick a price point and they'd be like, "You gotta get something under this price point."
Yeah.
Spend like hours in there. Hours in there. And I see stuff that I want to be like, hey, let me convince my grandparent.
Right.
Like, get me this bike. And they're
do the puppy dog face.
Exactly. It's like, but I want
a killer.
Yeah. Exactly. Man, sucks.
Different times, man.
Businesses change, and you got to be adapting. You got to
now the kids are waiting for Amazon packages to get dropped off at the front door.
They're like on the Instagram account, like, okay, where's it at? Oh, it's like 4 houses away. Oh,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Start waiting outside for it.
Dude, I'm waiting. How long do you think it's going to be before, like ice cream trucks used to be a thing? Like, how is that going to transition? Like, I guess food delivery.
Yeah.
I guess that's essentially what Uber Eats
I
and
guess
them are
so.
doing.
Yeah.
Because you can get whatever ice cream you want, and it doesn't have to be a specific ice cream.
Right.
You just can order it. I've never done that. Have you ever done Uber Eats or any of those?
I've done it once, and
you got it delivered to Crazy Cup?
No. I'm gonna use that for next time though. Good idea. I don't know why I never thought of that. No, it was a good experience, but then like you know how like something you experience something and then like the next day you feel like that's all you see on your social media feed.
Yeah.
Like literally the next day it was just a bunch of delivery things, and it was like people like talking about how this dude stole his fries or they spit in a sandwich or something, and it's like even though my experience was good, I'm forever paranoid now.
Yeah. It sucks, man. It sucks. I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
That business grew so quick that
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it provided a lot of jobs for people too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I expect that. I respect that.
Yeah, created a lot of money in the economy really quick.
It was a cool side hustle. Like I knew some friends that did it during like quarantine.
Dude, Uber was just a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Crazy concept. I mean,
Yeah.
it essentially made people into taxis with,
Yeah.
you know, super low overcost for the company.
Right.
They don't have to buy people taxis
Right.
to have. You just use your car. It has to meet a certain qualifications.
Yeah.
And, you know, you work when you want to work. You have to, I think there's like a minimum amount you have to work or something like that.
Right.
But, you know, people started doing it to make extra money, and you get to make your own schedule.
Yeah.
You work when you want to work. Not
That
when
was
you,
a huge perk of it.
Yeah. There's not like you have to work this time to this time,
Yeah.
Monday through, you know, Friday.
Right. And you know, during quarantine, everyone was at the house, so they were just ordering food all day.
Yeah. I wonder what the next big business like that's going to be.
Yeah.
Like the next new thing will be.
Right.
You know, because essentially all those things do is just make it more convenient.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure
Every time it happens too, it's like, how did we not have this already?
Yeah. How did we not think about it?
How did I not create
Oh,
this?
that's such a good idea. Yeah, but like just sitting here like thinking about it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
There was always this businesses like over the years too. It's like, how or why is this a thing? Like this is terrible. Like silly bands in middle school.
Yeah, dude, I talk about it all the time.
I spent way too much money on that, and I'm not
Dude.
proud of it.
And where are they at now? Like what?
Right.
They're just like a fad that was here and gone. But
Yeah.
there's some dude or chick or lady
Yeah.
or family living somewhere in a mansion.
Yeah,
Because
I
they
bought
had the
those at
ideas.
Toys R Us, and now they're both gone.
Yep.
So
We'd get them at Walgreens.
I wonder
We'd
how
get
much
'em
their
anywhere.
net worth is for silly bands. That's
Can you Google that, Colton? I'm curious now. Because silly bands are the one that I think
That was
I
a
think
thing.
about a lot. And I'm
Yeah.
like you make fun of something like, okay, like OxyClean, but
Yeah.
somebody made a bunch of
I
money.
could have
selling
invested in
OxyClean.
Pokemon cards, like Gary Vee said back in the day.
Sheesh.
Wow.
Robert Kroke net worth. Robert Kroke is an American businessman who has a net worth of $15 million. He's best known for creating silly bands. Okay, make fun of those little rubber things as much as you want, but that boy be making
Yeah.
bank.
15 million is 15 million at the end of the day. That's so.
And they're not even
crazy.
accurate. That's the crazy part. Is
Yeah.
like that the 15 million. He probably in annual sales, the company grew from making $10,000 a year to over $100 million. Although silly bands are simply multicolored silicone bracelets that come in a variety of designs, American children were instantly hooked. I mean, are they still a thing? Do kids still wear silly bands?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
just
either.
they were literally a thing during our middle
morph
school
suits.
years.
You remember morph suits?
Yeah.
Those are. I don't even know those things being a thing anymore.
I don't think so.
Google that. You know, morph suits. You remember what morph suits are, Colton?
Yeah, people still use them.
Yeah, but like not at the rate that they did when I was in high school. I don't think. Morph suits. Yeah, but type in like see if you can find the net worth.
Squid Game.
Morph suits net worth. A morph suit for 1.1.
Oh my.
yeah. Multi-million pound business started as a laugh. BBC News. Yeah, it's just it's just crazy how one person creates something. I mean, constant effort, like we said earlier.
Yeah.
0.5 million.
3.5 million or 4.5 pound million. 4.5 million euros.
Revenue.
I don't know what I hate that.
They're working on a women's wear line. Interesting. The more
It's
you
crazy.
know.
So it's like
That is crazy.
yeah. It's like when LaCroix, like the bubbly waters,
Yeah.
like the fizzy waters, the seltzer waters, or like what's another one? Like White Claws. When they first started making
Yeah.
their stuff, the probably was like, what? Like it's not that crazy,
Right.
And then, sounds like
It's all about
hotcakes.
branding. It really is.
Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeti.
Those are
became
big.
huge. I mean, they're still
Right.
making a bunch of money. You know, it's insane, man.
Now like the Truly drinks are popular.
Yeah, High Noon. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's another one. Like there becomes a bunch of competitors because they didn't realize they could make a whole bunch of money doing that. It
Right.
becomes like a trend.
Yeah. You almost
crazy.
got to wait for someone to do it and then just tweak it just a little bit.
Yep. It's crazy, man. Business world's crazy. There's a ton of money out there to be made,
Right.
and man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where you're at in the future, man.
I appreciate it.
I'm excited to
I'll do a part 2 sometime.
for sure. Anytime you want to come back, man, you just let me know, or I'll probably reach out to you one of these days
I'm
and we'll
down,
do it again.
man.
Got to do it again. Anything else you want to talk about before we roll out?
I think I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for reaching out about it because I would have
course.
not. I didn't even know what you were doing
Yeah.
whenever you.
It's been literally since middle school we haven't talked.
No, yeah,
And then I saw yours with Emily, and Emily's a great person.
yeah,
And I was like, Is that Ryan? That's Ryan. Okay.
Yeah. Went to middle school with him.
I literally
What the heck?
followed you right after that. I
Yeah.
was like, well, yeah, we definitely had PE together.
I'm glad. I'm so glad you reached out, man. So glad. Anybody listening who hears that, if you think you want to come on the podcast, just reach out to me.
Yes,
I'm,
sir.
I like to think I'm friendly enough. Not really good at messaging, so it might take me a little bit to respond back, but I will respond back.
I appreciate
right.
you guys having me on.
Thanks so much, Dylan. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
Hello, everybody. This episode is over, but if you would like to support the podcast, you can head on over to the Instagram account to Somehow We're Adults and use the link in the bio to donate to the PayPal account there. All of the money that is donated will be used to make the podcast better. But either way, I'll keep it going. Make sure to follow the podcast where you listen to it for future episodes of Somehow We're Adults. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you all for listening, and I'll see you next time.